Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's for
Amy Riley. It's turtle time again.
I hope no one was scared I was going to do a demon voice.
Oh, you know that's one of the things that people say the most. They're so worried whether or not you're going to say my name angelically or fully demonically. And that was new, that sort of
I did low.
note that you hit. We never do it like that, right?
Yeah, I don't feel like going high pitched today. Maybe next week.
Yeah, I totally understand. And I sort of had to calibrate how I said your name just to factor in the feelings I'm feeling too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For some of our Villa Rosa VIPs already know this because it was discussed on the Monday episode and on our, whatever you call it, community page.
It was discussed within our community at a gathering of the Villa Rosa VIPs.
Yeah, gathering of the Juggalos.
Yes.
I don't want to get into it too much because I will become emotional. But if you haven't heard, my apartment burned down and my cat died. And I'm very sad and sorry.
Yeah.
I just thank everyone a lot. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be a fun podcast and I'll get over it and I won't talk about it anymore, but I've gotten like so many really sweet messages and like so much generosity from our listeners and I really appreciate it. Yeah, I don't want to bum people out on their refuge from sad shit, so I will get it together. But I really just thank you guys so much. Me and Jimmy have been very touched, and Riley has been a huge help. He helped us load up all of our toxic crap and put it in bins, and I'm gonna have to restart my collection of Vanderpump hats, unfortunately, but most of
the Bravo stuff was spared, but there were some casualties like the hats and merch and everything like that. Well, thank you for we don't have to talk about it more, but I appreciate you just saying what you're going through and everything. And the Villa Rosa VIP support was like such a beautiful thing to witness, and I can't believe how sweet everybody has been. And
if you are morbidly curious or want to listen to recaps of Vanderpump from the beginning, our friend Natalie joined Riley to discuss what had happened and to talk about season 3 secrets revealed.
Yes, we decided to uncover some secrets in the Vanderpump Rules universe that I had never seen before. We thought that was a good episode for Natalie to sub in because I still wanted you to be a part of the reunion because we'd worked so hard to get to that place. But secrets revealed with Natalie, and then we kind of explain in more detail what happened. But yeah, I mean, I don't want you to have to think about that anymore, and I appreciate you, talking about it. But
I can use one of my finest skills now: compartmentalization and disassociation, and we can talk about Bravo.
Yeah,
starting now.
It's perfect. It sounds perfect for compartmentalization and disassociation are two of the turtle time pillars.
It's the turtle time way.
It's the turtle time way.
That's why we have no memory, as we've discussed.
Yes, it's a refuge. I'm glad you mentioned it, but it is a refuge, for people. And now we can just get into the new turtle time spirit, or the turtle time spirit that we're all accustomed to. Anyway, well, I guess segueing from that, how I know it's been okay, how do I segue properly into the Bravo universe? There's been some Bravo news.
You're like, this episode was fire.
Yeah. I'm like, there are so many things.
God damn it, not fire. I will say, though, that I was thinking about it when I was driving around. I truly have been inspired by the housewives in general because I watched so much RHONY recently. I was thinking about how almost every single housewife has been through something horrible. And I think that's part of why it's so good. Is I was thinking of specifically like RHONY, like I was like Bethany's horrific divorce and then death of her fiance, I was like, Ramona's world rocked when Mauricio had a midlife crisis and left her. Luann arrested, had to start all over. Like, I was just like going through housewives one by one, and I was like, they're an inspiration as just examples of everyone has some shit that happens.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and Bravo does always like put that like sheen on it, you know, to where you don't get too deep into the tragedies of all of their lives. But yeah, I mean, you've seen them all go through so much shit and like rebound. So it is inspiring that way. Yeah. I was going to say Ramona recovered from when she went in the woods and was reminded of her childhood home making mud pies. She was somehow able to overcome that, which is kind of beautiful.
I mean, Carol's had horrible shit happen to her.
Yeah, Carol.
She's maybe
like,
the worst.
Yeah, Carol is like the model of someone like with so much grief in their life, and you know what they can do when they get past it and everything. Yeah. So I'm glad that you're finding. I mean, yeah, that's a good segue into Bravo. It's like that. I think Bravo does keep a certain like level of tone that like even when it's horrible tragic shit happens, they keep it uplifting, you know, like we saw with Southern Charm, where that could have been like a full season dedicated to Olivia grieving, but they were able to figure out a way to, I don't know, make that an uplifting storyline throughout the season overall, even though she was dealing with so much shit.
For sure.
But, you know, I've said this off mic, but, you know, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, but, you know, there will be a day when we're able to, I mean, it's always going to be hard, but it's like, I don't know, I'm glad we have this place to.
Yes, we have fled to the Villa Rosa shed.
Yes.
Where we usually do our Patreon records. They're going to have to get ready for us twice a week.
Yeah, I already told Ken. I mean, he was in a good mood. He wasn't holding a shotgun at us. And I just said, Ken, we're going to have to be here twice the amount of time, unfortunately. So please get that shed ready to have us here. So you can see on the YouTube that we're in Ken and Lisa's beautiful shed at Villa Rosa.
Yeah, they understand.
Yeah. So we were talking about the news a little bit, you know, before we get into this episode of Vanderpump Rules, because we want to recap this beautiful episode, right, of Vanderpump Rules. But there was a little bit of, you know, I think some small news updates that happened that we were talking about. I think the one that was most exciting to me was at Luann's cabaret show in New York, you know, which we've been to that cabaret show when it was in Hollywood, right? Yeah. And it looks like Matt Rogers was in the audience, who, you know, I know him from Watch What Happens Live. I've never listened to his podcast or anything, but I know who he is. He said straight up, right to Luann's face, while she was, you know, in the middle of, well, not in the middle of singing, but when she was asking questions, he said, I've heard major rumors that you, to Luann, Sonia, and Dorinda are coming back to RHONY. And then they're going to keep from the RHONY season 14 cast that we you know, came to know. They're dropping Sai and they're dropping Jenna Lyons. So it'd be Luann, Sonia, Dorinda, Aaron, Jessel, Brynn, and then Uba would be a friend of.
Okay.
So really, Sai, I mean, we kind of knew Sai was on the chopping block.
Bye, Sai.
Bye, Sai. You know, I have complicated feelings about Sai because I don't think that she was so much worse than the other cast members. She just... I don't know why Sai got so much hate. She was just like the one that people wanted to blame all of the flaws of RHONY on, I think. But Jenna Lyons, I think that's a good decision to say goodbye to Jenna Lyons. I don't think she enjoyed the Bravo experience overall.
No, she like didn't share anything and was conflict averse. And I think, you know, it wasn't, she wasn't giving enough. She was resting on her notoriety and career, but without it really being about that. Like I said before, if it would have been more about her career, I would have been interested in that. But it was kind of just like a little bit about her lash business, which isn't that interesting.
Yeah, I feel like they had to cut around a lot of the lash storyline, and they gave us like maybe 2 or 3 glimpses, but it must not have been giving a lot, and they didn't want it to like be a through line throughout the season. But I mean, I do think overall this is a very good idea. I mean, it's like you tested all of the new cast members. You found that Sai and Jenna Lyons are the weak links. You want to keep Brynn because Bravo loves Brynn more than anyone they've ever cast in the world.
I do think she will be fun and interesting with a Sonia Luann like because she is sort of the proto, like, young version of a Sonia.
Yes.
So I think they could get up some real shenanigans.
She's like is it facsimile? She's like a facsimile of them. She's
Yeah.
like a combination of like of all three of them or whatever, or
Yeah.
mainly Sonia, I guess.
She's like Muppet Babies. Like, she's like Sonia RHONY Babies.
Yes.
Like, if you wanted to cast a young version, it's like young, what was that? Carrie Diaries.
Yes, it's exactly right. Yeah, she is. Yeah, she was like brewed in the Bravo soup,
Yeah.
or whatever, to be the next generation of RHONY. Sometimes though, that was like sort of hard to watch because
Yeah.
it felt so like a put on.
Right.
That persona.
That's why it would be funny to watch against the real thing. She'll have to sort of get it checked.
Recalibrate. I agree. So I mean,
But you know what? I was thinking, because I've just been watching the Tinsley thing. When I first imagined Brynn hanging out with them, I think it sounds fun. But then I think about Tinsley and how Sonia was horrendous to Tinsley.
You'll have to remind me, why did Sonia, they lived together, right?
Yeah. And that was Tinsley's in, was that she was going to go stay with Sonia after her arrest and whatever. And that was her re-entry to New York City, she obviously could afford to stay wherever she wanted, but I think it was for the show.
Yeah.
And under the guise of wanting a comfortable place to stay and like a cozy person to look after her or whatever. And Sonia immediately resented her.
Because she was like, you're not paying for the groceries. You're not bringing the boxes in.
Right. Yeah. She was just made her feel bad constantly, had a million rules, including, not using her assistant.
Oh, right.
At one point, Tinsley asked the assistant, she was like, if a package, she was specifically had something getting delivered, that she was going to be gone when it came. And Sonia was like, you're not allowed to ask my assistants for anything because it distracts them from what I have them doing. And I'm like, they can't answer the door for a package?
Yeah, right.
Like,
I remember that.
And she just kept shitting on her over and over again, and Tinsley couldn't win. And that's when she threw her like thank you Sonia party and gave her a like $5,000 gift card to Bergdorf's.
Wow.
And I don't know.
Did Sonia like that?
She did, but then she later, as of the next season, was like, what's Tinsley's Scott? She was like, Scott bought that. She was like, Scott pays for everything, which I'm like, so?
Right.
Which I don't even think is true. I think Tinsley has 10 times more money than Scott did. But anyways, and that's when then Tinsley moved into a hotel, which was, I think, $7,000 a month, which compared to the rents that she was looking at was on par. But then when Scott came to town, they upgraded to a penthouse that was $30,000 a month.
Wow. Yeah, that was beautiful. And then I was going to say, so in addition to Sonia hating Tinsley's guts, Dorinda hated Tinsley more than anyone in the world.
Yeah.
Dorinda had so much hatred towards Tinsley. So I guess I think like you said, the dynamics will completely change once those three OGs, well, Dorinda's sort of an OG, like a legacy RHONY person, like it's going to change so much. Like who knows what Aaron will be like? Maybe it'll step up Aaron's game a little bit to be around them. Like who knows? Like
I feel like Aaron might end up being judgmental and being like, these bitches are a mess, that kind of a thing, which would not be, I don't know. I mean, well, I have no idea what the conflict will be, but that is definitely an improvement.
Yeah, I just hope that the new cast members are more just like true to themselves and less inauthentic, which was, I think, the main drawback of RHONY last season.
Yeah.
Like when I was thinking of us like recapping RHONY season 14, I was like, we were in the doldrums there. Like after watching Southern Charm in Salt Lake City, remembering RHONY, like that season 14 of RHONY, I was like, God damn, that was bad.
Brutal.
Right? I mean, they like,
especially watching old RHONY now and how good it was for so long.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just not the same.
Do you think that there's a chance that when Luann and Dorinda and Sonia are back in the universe with Aaron, Uba, Jessel, and Brynn, I think that's all of them, like, is there a worry that they'll just steal the show completely out from under the four newbies because they're so good at this? They've been doing this for like 15 years.
Right.
And people might just be like, I just want to see Luann, Dorinda, and Sonia again.
Yeah.
Like, fire Aaron, fire like Brynn, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like it's up to them to be smart about their participation. Like, I think Jessel could like be down to clown and get in the mix. Erin, we'll see. She's not very fun.
No.
And Bryn, if she's smart, will do her best to like vibe and party with and like go out trolling for men. I think that's her role. Because like imagine, because our most recent version, not including UGT because that's like different, but like Crappy Lake, I feel like is kind of like what Sonia and Luann will be up to.
Yes.
And then we'll get to check in on their actual lives, like what's going on with the townhouse.
Right.
Pretty sure she still owns it. I don't know if she lives in it right now.
Yeah, she was saying on RHONY Legacy that financially she's still going through it. You know, like she was talking about how Ramona and Luann and everybody are so much richer than she is, and she's debating going on like OnlyFans and stuff. Right?
I mean, that movie deal really fucked her.
Oh my God, she got sued into oblivion, right? Because her Sonia Morgan Productions was like backed out on a deal or something.
Yeah, I know. It's just. I wish I never bought any of those Sonia Morgan shoes, like the slippers with a deer on them or whatever, the stag slippers. I would love to have some of those.
Oh, I would love to too. I was thinking maybe we could revive Sonia Morgan Productions when we go into production on Reality of a Scandal.
True.
Can you imagine?
Partner with her and Rand.
Oh, it would be awesome. Oh, right. I forgot that we already promised Randall Emmett that he could have first look right of refusal on Reality of a Scandal. But I think it could be a good... You know how many title cards sometimes are on movies where they've been financed to shit by like 15 different companies? Yeah. Maybe we could just be like, we went everywhere, all over town to get money for this thing.
Yeah. Maybe we can start Villa Rosa VIP Productions.
Ooh, I like that. And
we could come up with a fun title card.
For them, for our Villa Rosa VIP community.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that. I'm fine with having, if even the first 20 minutes of this movie are just dedicated to announcing who funded this thing. Yeah. Right?
It could be like a turtle walking across the bridge at Villa Rosa with the swans on the side.
I love that.
And then the scroll
how about a turtle that's about to walk across a highway that has trucks going by, and then a beautiful two swans fly and pick it up and carry it across the way over the highway.
Yeah.
And it says Turtle Time Productions.
Yeah. I'm imagining the scene in Bowfinger where they make Eddie Murphy run across the freeway. Do you remember that?
Oh, you know what? I haven't seen Bowfinger since it came out in 2000 or I don't even know
when did that come out? Might have been even earlier. But if we're talking about making a ragtag movie, that's a good inspiration.
Right. Okay. I'll rewatch it. That sounds so good. But I think overall, this news, I think it's good. I don't know if Matt Rogers said it to get the ball rolling and get fans fired up to say, this is the best thing that could ever happen. I don't know if he was like, what's that called when you like want to speak something into existence or not? But
I saw Luann commented on a post about it with the little eyes emoji.
Me too. And you only do that. You only put the two eyes looking to the side if you know something and you're like, you know.
Do you think Bethany would do it for 20 million?
20 million to be on the new season of RHONY, season 15?
Yeah.
20 million. 20 million. I have to think Bethany would want to do that, right?
Yeah.
For 20 million?
Yeah.
I mean, she always says, like, I'm happier than I've ever been, and I'm more successful than I've ever been post Bravo, and I make way more money now from all of the like odds and ends stuff that I do. But I have to imagine 20 million is something you really have to take into consideration, right?
Yeah. That would be interesting. Although I think she would suck all the air out of the room at this point.
She would. I think that those three first to sort of get RHONY up to a new like level of quality is great, and then save Bethany's reintroduction. It would be too much now. We would, I think, be too shocked.
I feel like even in the years past after she returned, it felt like she had special exemption where, you know, on every trip she would leave early. If she was feuding with someone, she just wouldn't go to their events. It felt like she acted like they were lucky to have her, which they, I hate to say, kind of were. Like, it was worth the trade of her getting to do the show in whatever capacity she wanted to. But I would understand why the other women resented that she didn't have to do half as much as they did.
Yeah, she didn't have to do half as much, and then I think that they said that they had to cut out so much Bethany sponsored shit through all those seasons because she was making every opportunity to, as a way to sell something while on camera.
It was aggressive. And then at that holiday party, Ramona, they're playing Secret Santa, and Ramona unwraps a nice skincare package or whatever, and she was like, I'll let someone else take this because I'm doing my own line right now and I have all these free samples, or like I'm dealing with that right now, so I don't need more of this. And Bethany's like, oh, I thought you were giving it to someone as a good deed, but I guess you're doing your Home Shopping Network blurb right now. And it's like, everyone's like, are you fucking kidding me? All you do, every second of every day, every item that you touch is Skinny Girl Red.
Right.
Like every party you have has a Skinny Girl ice luge. Every gift bag, everything.
Yeah, I need to return to the Bethany post Bethany Ever After era because I do want to watch it again fully, and because I don't even remember some of the beautiful nuance that you're describing of like Bethany's like going through this horrible tragic time while still trying to sell the shit, being above like the production, thinking that she can like control things behind the scenes.
Yeah, I will say I know she went through a lot, and I won't take that away from her, but her mental health and well-being is really on a rickety ladder for so many years running.
Wow.
Like she's just about to crack almost the entire time she's on the show.
Where are you at in your rewatch now?
I think I'm on I think I'm like, Carol's gone.
Okay.
So what season is that after she leaves?
I forget, but I just didn't want to bring it up, but like the Carol thing hits her so hard too, like towards the end of Bethany's run, because Carol was like the only true friend that Bethany had ever had, and then she ended up ruining that relationship too.
I know. She was like, I've never been through anything like this, and I'm like, what about Jill?
Right. I think looking back, I think Jill was not as close. Bethany didn't love Jill like
I think she like
Carol.
Took Jill with a grain of salt.
Totally.
Like she's like, I know who Jill is, even though we're close. She knew that Jill was kind of a Ramona type figure, whereas Carol was like a companion, like a normal human being.
Yeah, like Bethany treated her like a peer.
Yeah,
and when she lost her, it like she couldn't fathom what she had done to lose a close friend.
Yeah, it felt like maybe, especially with Cartagena, they maybe by the end could have gotten through, but then they watched the season back and the confessionals were way too much, and it was just absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, so sad.
Anyways.
Well, yeah, but no, yeah, right. A little blast from the RHONY past, but it's all. I mean,
blast from the RHONY past.
Yeah, it's important though because like we could be there. There's now a new future for RHONY that has the old cast, and they can. I don't know. I think it's just a really good decision. I also think that they are going to like lose I think Bravo is going to run out of ways they can keep Sonia, Luann, and Dorinda on the hook in the Bravo universe without offering them actual shows.
Yeah.
Because there are only so many spin-offs you can give them before they're like, hey, we don't just want to film for 3 weeks. We want this to be our main thing. And I think Bravo has to be afraid that Sonia, Luann, Dorinda, and Ramona could possibly be poached by another network and create a full reality show around them. They are talent.
I think I saw Ryan Serhant was on Watch What Happens Live last night, and he's gonna have a $1 million listing type show on Netflix now.
I know.
So I'm like, lost his ass.
Yeah, seriously. Well,
he's
I don't know.
OG.
So was he fired? What's the story? Because
I think they just stopped making New York, maybe, because $1 Million Listing LA is still on.
Okay.
But I don't know what happened with the New York franchise. But he's like, I can tell he's one of the Andy's golden boys. Like Andy loves him, and he goes way back. Like that show was on a million years ago. And if you recall, he was, I don't know if you watched it Just Like That. He did a cameo on Just Like That, and he had a cameo in Marriage Story.
Whoa. Wait, where in Marriage Story?
What was it? I forget who he was. I don't think he literally played himself, but
did he have lines?
Yes.
What, in Marriage
I have to
Story?
look this up. Maybe we'll post the clip.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Literally everything I say out loud, I wonder if I made it up.
No. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to just go through.
Usually it turns out to be correct, but sometimes I feel like I imagined it.
No, I'm sure it is. I mean, that's
but I think he maybe used to be a million years ago an actor.
Okay.
Which I think is part of his success, is that he's just like good on camera and like.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, I didn't know what he was from, but I thought he was really nice on
Bravo lineage or tier of spinoff. He had a wedding special.
He did?
Yeah.
Whoa.
His wedding in Greece. His wife is Greek, and it was a whole like My Big Fat Greek Wedding spinoff.
They must have really loved him.
Yeah. I'm like, there's only a handful of people that have gotten a special like that.
Right. Yeah. So I think that in all Bravo contracts, there must be like something where it's like, if you don't use me in 6 months, we have the right to like, move away from this network. And so I think Bravo now is going to make the decision to be like, we can't lose this talent to the competition, and they're getting tired of just being on these like shitty, not shitty, but like these Peacock exclusive spinoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a good decision by Bravo to not lose them.
Yeah,
completely.
especially because I feel like the first season was an experiment. Adding the OGs in is an experiment, and then maybe by the third season they'll figure out what works.
Yeah, and it'll be like just Jessel is left,
right,
with old RHONY cast members.
Right. All right. Well, more to come on that. Maybe if that's announced, we can do a special RHONY retrospective or something. Once, maybe I can select in my reviewing some of the ones that stood out the most for me or something.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
All right. What else happened?
Well, the other this is I don't know. I mean, this is a big deal. I think. I think Atlanta.
Yes.
Real Housewives of Atlanta, I think
Speaking of OGs.
Yeah, I think Real Housewives of Atlanta is like in RHONY reboot territory, but it's not being fully announced yet.
Yeah.
But they should have already been filming, I think, months ago already, and they're not. We found out that contracts were not renewed for anyone. And then now I think Kandi just announced at the Grammys, I think, right? She announced at the Grammys that she is taking a break from Real Housewives of Atlanta, which I forget how, like, her run is like, what, like 15 years?
Yeah. Was she the longest running besides like Teresa?
Yeah, I think she was. And Kandi, a lot of Atlanta viewers, we weren't like so harsh on the season of Atlanta, but it was a very derided season, and like no one liked it. I mean, it was like Potomac levels now this season, where just people are so fed up with Atlanta. Kenya was fed up with Atlanta. Yeah, she was like saying on Carlos King's podcast, she was like, Sonia and Marlo and Drew should not be cast members on this show. She specifically said it. She said they should have like been auditioned, been on the show as friend ofs, and then whoever was the best should have like rose to be a full time. Yeah, she was being very like honest about what she thinks about Atlanta. So I think Kandi leaving is now acknowledging that Atlanta is going to have this huge shift. I read a report that Kenya also quit, but I haven't been able to confirm that. But I think that either they're going to go back to the well and try to get, Nene. I don't know what they can do with Phaedra now, because she's already sort of like in the universe on another show.
That's true. Yeah, that's interesting, because I feel like Candy's the main reason they can't use Phaedra, right?
Right. So if Kandi leaves, it allows for Phaedra to be back. I do think it's like kind of awful for Bravo to be like,
swap her in.
Kandi's gone, so now we have access to Phaedra again, her mortal enemy who tried to like ruin her life and career. Like,
that would be like a burned bridge, possibly.
Yeah, and like how long could Phaedra last? And then as long as Phaedra lasts, you can't have Kandi.
Right. And then Sheree's also on the Traitors, right?
Is she?
I feel like I heard that.
Oh, okay.
I know that people really love it.
I know.
And I keep being like, maybe I'll watch it. I'm staying at a hotel right now, and we've been watching Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, how is it?
It's on at all times, just so you know. It's kind of boring, but it's also comforting because it's so low grade, like low stakes.
Yeah.
And there's some fun cameos, like Elliot Gould and Lucy Arnaz. I think that's just her name, Lucy Arnaz, basically Lucy Jr.
Oh, Lucy Jr., the daughter of Lucy and Ricky?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've never seen their daughter.
Yeah. So anyways, it's fun, but I'm like, maybe I'll watch The Traitors, because everyone I know is obsessed with it.
I know.
And every podcast I listen to, they're obsessed with it. We've gotten so many comments saying that we should watch it. So maybe I'll start it and let you know what I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I do hear so many good things. It's just, for me, it's a matter of what I let into my world.
I know.
In terms of other reality
It's a lot.
shows too. But if it's so good that we just have to watch it, then I understand. But so it could be that, I think it could be that either Atlanta will be fully rebooted, which I don't think that season of Atlanta was so bad.
Yeah.
That everyone should be fired.
Right.
I mean, what do you think?
No, I mean, it's such again, every time we talk about this casting stuff, it feels so above my pay grade. Like,
yeah, that you wouldn't want to even decide.
I do not envy, I've said this before, do not envy the producers and the executives, because it's really, really hard to come up with the right combination. Scrapping completely feels like wild, but for some reason I have more faith maybe in who they could come up with for Atlanta than New York, but I don't know.
No, I mean, it's I get what you're saying, but all I know, like really all I know with 100% certainty, is that finding good cast members for Bravo is like a diamond in the rough.
I know.
And every single friend of that has been like thrown to the wayside that we've seen on all of these different franchises just shows you that with all of the power of Bravo and their casting and everything they know, their interviews, when they bring someone on like Anna Marie, and it's just a full-blown flop to a magnitude that we've never seen before. I mean, Diana Jenkins is a better example. She's the worst one season cast member they've ever done. That just shows you that, like, why do you think it'd be any different to cast 6 new people? They can't even get one good. Courtney, you had Courtney on
I was
Atlanta.
gonna bring
and
her up. Yeah,
it's like, do we really? Courtney is who you would have cast if you were casting the show with 6 new people, obviously, because Courtney is who you cast as someone to bring into this universe.
She makes the most sense. She was connected in multiple ways.
Yeah. So if you were rebooting Atlanta 3 years ago, you would have chose Sonia, Drew, and Courtney, right? So it's like, are those? I just think that they need to stop underestimating the talent that they have and the history that people have with these cast members. Like the fact that they're going back to the well with Luann and Dorinda and Sonia should show you that.
Yeah, maybe they can do again like Muppet Babies and do like Kandi's daughter and Sheree's son.
Sheree's son, I would like.
Cairo,
Kandi,
Riley.
Yep. What are
Todd's daughter?
Yes, I do like Todd's daughter.
Yeah.
What's her name?
What is her name? It's Riley and.
I do. I like Todd's daughter. I think that was fun. I don't think. I think first of all, I think that last season of Atlanta was underrated. I think we had a lot of fun. I enjoyed talking about that 10 times more than I enjoyed talking about RHONY.
Yeah. It's too hard. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if Nene is, I know that Nene wants to pretend like she never sued Bravo. I know that if she had her way, she would scrub that from the history books. Like she scrubbed her interview with Bethany the minute after Bravo, like put those eye emojis on her Instagram.
Right.
So I think Nene wants to come back. Obviously, that would bring almost everyone back into the Atlanta fold who loved Atlanta before, to see Nene come back.
Do you think that the legal department would even let them entertain that? I feel like once you sue NBC Universal, they're like, we cannot do business any further.
I totally think that is what possibly happened with 99% of cast members, but I think Nene might be the one exception to where Kim? Yes.
I forgot about Kim.
Portia, right? Is also just like,
what's she doing?
I think she thought that the Bravo universe was starting to get toxic for her, and she wanted to take a break and see what else she could do.
Freshly remarried.
Yes, I want to see. I just think that there is so much stuff they can do with just sort of re-tinkering the existing Atlanta cast members that we know and love with maybe 2 new additions instead of going full-blown reboot, because we've seen what that yields, and it's bad and it's awful. And so Bravo. I know, obviously I love when you listen to Turtle Time, but just cherish your cast members. Cherish the talent that you've cultivated. You did such a good job. Anyone who's lasted more than 5 years in the Bravo universe should be like like they should be treated like gods within your universe, and don't just fire them and try to get replacements, because 90% of the time it does not work out. That's why the first time cast member ratio of flops is so high.
Yeah. I mean, I got a little taste of what it would have felt like if Diana Jenkins was brought back. I told this story before, but I accidentally, or my DVR recorded last season instead of the new season. And so I started watching the episode, and for like 10 minutes, I thought that they brought her back as like to revisit. And it was like, you know, when you're in a nightmare and you're like, is this real?
Oh, yeah.
This can't be real. What is happening? I was like writhing in my seat.
Yeah.
And then her husband or whatever, baby daddy, started playing the piano and singing. And I was like, we can't be doing this again. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, you're
and
like,
then I woke up. It's old.
You were like, for a minute, you were like, wait, Bravo brought Diana Jenkins back as a cameo and let her have the exact same scene where her husband...
I had deleted all of those files from my mind.
What was it? I don't remember her husband's name.
It's like Satchel or something.
Yeah, I think it was Satchel. It wasn't Satchel, right?
He looked like Satchel.
He looked exactly like Satchel. Yeah, the Diana Jenkins era, that was like, I mean, I don't know. This season of Beverly Hills is not great. Yeah. But I will give it credit for being much better than last season. And I've enjoyed the Barcelona trip for the most part in last week's episode. I really actually enjoyed it. I think it doesn't have the, I don't know, huge conflict that like makes Salt Lake City shine right now. But it's, I don't know, they're getting to a good place. But I feel like this is going to be regarded as a really shitty season. And they're going to retool after this for sure.
For sure. Yeah. I think I am going to be going to Barcelona in June, so I'm taking notes on maybe I can go to their haunted Airbnb or something.
I would love for you to report back. I don't know if you're going to be able to like stay the night there or whatever, but I would love to know kind of what's going on behind the scenes that we didn't get to see, because last week's episode, I don't know if you looked in the background of some of those shots, but like Kyle would walk by a hallway and I swear, a little door would open and close right behind her.
It was like those little, what movie is that with like the like Miyazaki, the little ghosts?
Oh,
those
yeah.
were everywhere.
Oh, of course. I just watched a Miyazaki film, Totoro.
Oh, did you like that?
No, I don't like it actually.
But
do you like
that creature's cute?
Yeah, he's cute. Do you like Miyazaki films?
I'm a little undereducated in that area because I honor and respect the form of the art of animation, but it takes a lot to get me to watch an animated movie. I don't lean that way.
Yes, I'm more on your side, to where animated movies don't feel like real movies at all, you know, and like you can't really judge them like, you know, other films or whatever.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten to the Miyazaki world. Like I watched an hour of Totoro and I was just like, what the hell is happening here? These little ghosts and stuff. Not that I need to know what's going on, but I just feel like there's people love those films. Like they're like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, and I haven't gotten there yet with Miyazaki.
Yeah. Same.
But you're right though, in terms of in the Beverly Hills house, it is exactly like a Miyazaki animated film in terms of the little ghosts that were sort of dancing around the house.
Yes, the little duendes.
Yeah.
So I will be checking on that, boots on the ground.
Wait, when is your Barcelona trip again?
Well, so I'm mainly going to France.
Right.
My passport survived the wreckage.
Good.
And my global entry card, which is important as well.
That's amazing.
Jimmy's passport is quite charred.
Okay.
But I think it's easier to get a passport replaced if you have the original one.
It totally is, yes.
So, anyways, we're going to, for our friend's 40th birthday, we're going to Provence in June. Hopefully, depending on how many episodes Vanderpump Rules and Summer House are, I think I will just have made it after that. But if not, I will, we will do a remote. But it's like June 16th or something.
Wow. That'll be, I'm just imagining how powerful the Turtle Time episodes will be when you're sort of in Provence and Barcelona.
Drunk off my ass.
Oh, I will love it. I think it'll bring a lot of new energy to Turtle Time. We've never had sort of that, like, what's that called? That joie de vivre of like Paris or France.
Yeah, we need to get the tea on where the Vanderpump Villa is so I can go there.
I know. It's kind of hard for me to watch the Vanderpump Villa trailers just knowing how close we were to being cast on that thing.
We made it through like the 5th round.
Like, what the hell did we do in that final interview with Lisa? Like, we said all the right things. We said, oh, I would love to be catered by your guests. We want everything to be perfect, and we are very vocal when things aren't perfect. Like, what did we do wrong?
I think you said something about the bad salad you had at Pump. And she wrote just a red line over your name when you said that.
She asked examples of when you've had very bad food before, and I said one time at Pump. But you're right, Lisa was the wrong person to say that to. Well, anyway, that's why. I mean, I'm gonna watch Vanderpump Villa.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of gonna be bummed out the entire time. But maybe next season.
That's Hulu?
Yes.
It's so whatever. I would love the tea on why it's not on Peacock.
Someone did a good TikTok about that, actually. They tagged me in it, and I watched it, and it actually made sense that it was like Peacock probably got first right, what's that called? Like, they were able to buy it first or whatever, but they potentially didn't want it. And then Hulu was like, we're getting into reality. We'll take Peacock scraps.
Right.
So everyone, goes to that point about Bravo talent. Everyone wants what Bravo has.
Yeah.
They want it for Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
They want it on whatever else.
World's
House of
Toughest
Villains.
Test.
World's Toughest. They want the Bravo shining talent. Don't let them have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fight for what you have.
I wonder if Lisa wanted it like a huge payday or something, because to me, I'm like, why wouldn't you just buy it and then the thumbnail can live next to Beverly Hills and Vanderpump Rules, and people will automatically just watch it.
Why wouldn't
Peacock?
I mean, I think it is indicative of potentially the quality of it. I mean, no offense, but I just think maybe they were like,
that'd be pretty bad.
Huh?
That must be pretty bad then. Because to me, it just seems like, as far as just like, if they had it autoplay after Vanderpump Rules or
of course.
Beverly Hills, I bet so many people would just be like, fine.
I mean, I think it was produced by Evolution.
Yeah.
I think Evolution always, goes to Bravo first to say, would you want to purchase this new Vanderpump production / Evolution Media? And I don't know, unless Hulu just paid way more and they're like, we want to make more money. I mean, I don't know how any of that shit works, but it's going to be Hulu. And do you have, just to ask you, like, Lisa's like quench for money and power and fame?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about, like, I've been thinking about this a lot with like the Grammys and the Golden Globes, like how much acclaim do you need? How much do we all need, And like I was thinking, like, Lisa needs more than what she has. Like she has Vanderpump Rules. It's now the highest most watched debut for season 11. She had the spinoff where she was bringing people to Villa Rosa, like she was bringing like Cheryl
Trixie,
David, whatever her
Mattel, and whoever else.
What's Cheryl David's real name? She had I mean, I'm just saying Joel McHale.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how much does Lisa want?
Yeah. I mean, she also must just love being on camera.
But she must. But I just like,
she's greedy like Taylor Swift when she just grabbed the Grammy out of Celine Dion's hands and didn't say thank you.
I didn't want to say it, but that's
the Swifties might come after us. But I watched that before. I watched it live on the hotel TV, and I hadn't seen anything on Twitter or anything. And I immediately texted my friends, was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, I was watching at a bar because I went to the Sopranos anniversary panel.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that after.
Yeah, we can talk about it. We don't have to bore our little turtle cuties with it. But we went to this Irish bar after, and they were playing the Grammys, and I didn't watch a lot of it. But the scenes I saw and then the TikToks I saw compiled, Taylor's energy, I felt like I'm not a Taylor detractor at all. I actually love her. I liked the Eras concert thing. I was loving life when we saw it together. I think I love most of her songs or whatever, but her energy at the Grammys,
a little erratic.
There's this scene. They got some footage of her when she got album of the year or whatever, and Jack Antonoff's sitting there, and she's sort of like, she's like giving him a noogie, and like she's like punching or hitting him with balled fists.
Did you see her backstage with Boy Genius?
Yeah,
she puts a Grammy on one of their heads, and she looks mad.
Yeah, and then and Julian Julian Baker, one of the Boy Genius group members, is crying, actively crying. I was like, what did Taylor Swift?
She's like, can I put this 20-pound Grammy on your head?
I was like, what is this energy? You're acting like this is like the Taylor Swift Awards, and everyone is just here to like honor you. She was like, and right before she started to put a Grammy on someone's head who didn't want it on their head for the moment when they're getting a Grammy, which is something that people really love, even though Taylor's gotten 100 of them.
Yeah.
She's putting it on their head. She goes to Jack Antonoff, which I don't even like Jack Antonoff that much, but she goes, Jack Antonoff, you're being really weird right now. Just so you know, you're being really weird. And she meant it in that funny way where you're like accusing your friend of like acting off, but like it sounded like kind of like I don't want to say bordering on like bully behavior, but kind of like when you're having too much camaraderie with your friends and trying to show off your relationship too much. And she pulled Lana Del Rey up to the thing, like made her
even
go
though
up
she
with
just
her.
lost.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is happening? What do you think?
There was a lot going on. I don't know what the deal is. She is interesting. That's Taylor Swift just banged on the door. She heard us. You know, that was a warning.
She's also suing there's like a college student or whatever who's tracking her private jet use to show how much emissions her jet blows into the atmosphere every time she wants to go to grocery shopping or whatever. You know, she takes a private jet. So she's suing
public knowledge.
Right. Well, she's suing them because she doesn't want to know. I'm like, I think that Taylor Swift's relatability meter of her being the whatever, you know, the likability factor of like, I'm just like you, I'm going through breakups, I'm going through pain, I talk about it, I give you the clues and the signals, it's the parasocial, you know, that's the word. So and I think she
hit the limit.
She hit the limit, and she calibrated a little wrong at the Grammys, and that aw shucks shit played badly.
Announcing her new album at the Grammys means that she knew that she would be on stage. So like she predicted a win and
well, she could have predicted another opportunity, right? Like she's probably like, at least I'm going to get record of the year. Or,
sure.
You know what I mean?
And she could have just dropped it, I guess, on social media, not on stage. But to me, I don't even follow her career or discography very closely, but I'm like, another album. I'm like, I think everyone learns that PR 101 is that you need to give people a break before they get sick of you. And it's like, Anne Hathaway, I remember she kind of went MIA for a while. Jennifer Lawrence went MIA for a while. I think if you're smart, you give people time to miss you. And releasing another album, she's going to make $1 billion and people are going to eat it up. But as far as public perception of people that aren't already in the bag for her, I think everyone's going to be sick of her. Plus, we have the Super Bowl next week, and we're going to have to hear about that for like a month.
Yeah, whatever she does there, I hope Jack Antonoff, when you're watching, stay away from Taylor Swift in the box at the Super Bowl, because I think she's going to start rubbing your head and maybe give you a what's it called when you put someone's head in the toilet?
Oh, yeah.
A swirly.
Yeah.
Jack, I think you need to stay away from Taylor's energy in the Super Bowl.
When Usher's performing, she's going to like do a full pink and like swoop in.
You think she is to catch one of the? You think Travis Kelce's? He's not the quarterback, so he couldn't do this. Is he the quarterback?
Tight end.
Tight end. Well, whatever. I think when someone throws the football at one point, Taylor Swift better not come out on a huge. Yeah. What's that called? A huge string?
It's like when Lady Gaga lowered down at the Super Bowl.
What are those officially called? The tightrope? No, she wouldn't tightrope walk, but whatever. I don't think
zip line.
I don't think that. Taylor, I know that you're probably planning this already and it's like in the bag, but do not do a zip line to try to do an interception for Travis Kelce. Right? She shouldn't.
Yeah. Do you remember that though? When Lady Gaga, she sings like whatever it was, what's the national, what's the song that's not the national anthem, the other one?
Oh, Pledge Allegiance to the Flag.
It was, she sings and then she goes, it's what and justice for all? And liberty and justice for all. She goes, with liberty and justice for all. And then she jumps off and like a little spider gets lowered down. Then it starts playing Just Dance.
What song is that she's saying that says in liberty and justice for all?
What is it?
I know the Pledge of Allegiance.
My trauma blocked it.
Well, what's my excuse? I mean,
it's
in liberty and justice for all. Just Dance. Wait, what's the Just Dance
It's
song?
the
again?
one about. It's like what's From Sea to Shining Sea. What's that
From
one?
Sea to
America the
Shining
Beautiful?
Sea. Yeah, when do they sing that at football games? Oh, of course, I know what you're talking about now. They go, and now we all rise for the national.
Well, they do
for
the
America the people."
national anthem is different. The national anthem is, I think someone else sang it that day, and then she did a little, one of the other America
And
songs.
beautiful for space.
It wasn't that.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, we'll look into that. Damn. Okay. So what were we talking about? Oh, Taylor Swift. Please. I think she'll probably recalibrate a little bit after her Grammys feedback, because even I think for a huge Swiftie, which I know our little turtle cuties might be Swifties,
Yeah.
I think you have to say at least a little bit.
This land is your land. That's different than I thought.
Oh yeah.
She
where-
goes like, "This land is your land. This land is my land." Because it was during the Trump era, and people thought she was going to get political, and instead she made it about like America is for everyone.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
Okay. And when did she do that? When
That's
did
how she started her performance.
Okay, so I don't know This Land Is Your Land as much as the other ones, and so I'll look into that, or I'm going to watch that performance.
Oh my God, you have to.
But what I wanted to say, just to end this whole thing, is that I think striving or whatever is like good, like, striving is
Striving is good.
striving is good to a degree. Like wanting more or whatever is good because it, like, people do accomplish a lot of stuff. But at some point, everyone in the entertainment industry, everyone, you have to learn. Just be happy with what you have. And I thought about that with Jay-Z's speech too about Beyonce, not to just fully put it on the Swifties. When he was like,
He needed to tighten up that speech.
I didn't watch the full thing, but I just know the sentiment to where he was like, Beyonce absolutely has to have album of the year, no matter what. Don't let one Grammy go by.
Yeah.
And like, I agree that obviously in the past, Beyonce, and I know you agree that she should have won.
Even
album of the
Adele
year.
was like, "Take my Grammy.
Yeah,
This is bullshit."
Of course. And Macklemore wanted to give his to Kendrick Lamar because he knew that it was wrong. But so I'm saying there's a lot of examples, but I just like, why do you need that? Why does Jay-Z want that?
Yeah.
Why does Beyonce need this? The Grammys are pure shit.
Yeah.
Oscars are pure shit.
I mean, the award he was accepting was like new and made up.
It was called the Jay-Z Award for Best Jay-Z.
Yeah.
It's like all they're doing is they want to award everyone. They wish that there was 100 categories and people would watch this for 6 hours where you said individually, every famous person in the audience, you're the best ever. Please look at the camera and say you love the Grammys. That's all they want.
Yeah.
So when they fail, it's just because they wish they could honor everyone, but there's only 50 categories that they keep adding to. So I'm just saying, be happy with what you have. That's it. We don't like. There's a limit to how much acclaim everybody should have and need. And I think Beyonce and Jay-Z and Taylor Swift just, they don't matter. Be happy with what you have.
Don't you think that once you have like a dozen Grammys, you're like, where the fuck do I put these?
I respect the art. Of course.
Like
We
you're
know
just
that
like,
they're.
what? They just become like objects.
Steven Spielberg, I heard, just has this shed in his yard, and it just has all of his like memorabilia, and he barely even goes out there. It's just like, there's my 50th Oscar. Like, I don't give a shit about this
was
stuff.
it Kate Winslet or who was it? I think it might have been her. She said that she put her Oscar in the like guest bathroom so that when people are in there alone, they can like touch it and like pretend to give a speech or whatever, which I'm like, that's so nice, because then people don't have to be like, can I hold it? You can just like be alone and be embarrassing and like look at it and feel how heavy it is.
I love that. So it's the same place where Kyle Richards put her mom's ashes, first of all. Second of all, I would totally do that and give a speech in the bathroom. You just have to hope that no one would desecrate the Oscar in there. Right?
It could fit in some places.
Anyway, well, you're totally right. I just think that I like the actors and the musicians and all the people who say this is not about awards. This is art, and we shouldn't play into this at all, and this doesn't matter. And you know what I mean? That's the people I respect more, and I think everyone should realize soon. The Grammys are archaic, and they're soon going to be in the dust heap of history. Yeah,
I feel like you could tell though that this year that they did something different I don't know if it was like a new PR team or some zhuzh, because they had great attendance. Like everybody came out. So I'm like, I don't know what changed, because I feel like in the past like 5 years, it was a real like bottom of the pit. Like no one cared, no one came. Like,
you're right.
You know,
they brought the glamour back to the Grammys, and almost every opportunity they had to show performances, I was like, they're ripping it up here.
Yeah.
But still, you can't fool me, Grammys. It still doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You get everybody up there. I don't care.
Yeah.
You awards don't matter.
Tracy Chapman ripped.
Yeah, I watched that performance. I'm glad people are like stoked, because people were so pissed at that. I don't follow country music, but people were so pissed. They're like, Luke Combs, whatever that guy's name is like, that song was amazing. You can never, do that again. And then when they collab, people were like, this is one of the best things I've ever seen. Country music and whatever the hell Fast Car is.
Oh, right. We were laughing about how we don't know who any of these people are. And they were like, featuring Jelly Roll. And we were like, what?
Yeah, I love that. I like Jelly Roll's speech. I saw that on TikTok. He goes, I was 39 years old, which I was like, holy shit, that's me next year. Or maybe he's even younger, but whatever. He goes, don't ever say that a 39-year-old can't do anything. And I was like, that's amazing. He goes, because I'm standing here as Jelly Roll, and my life just started. Thank you so much. I love you all. And I thought that was so sweet.
Great.
I love when people say, not to, God, we are going on a tangent, but I love when people say, like an actor was 50,
right? Like Michelle Yeoh last year.
Michelle Yeoh, yeah, and they're like, this guy was 50 before he got his life started. I'm like, wow, there's still
it's never too late.
Hope for me.
Yes.
So much. Wow, we're saying a lot of good moral lessons, right?
Yes. Was there any other final news, or was an hour enough?
I honestly wanted to talk about the Grammys, but I didn't think that we would, because it had been like a little long, it's like this will be old news by the time. Yeah. But I'm glad we talked about it, because there was some fertile.
Oh yeah, I'm sure turtle. Your wife Megan was stoked as hell with all the Miley.
Oh, and a lot of people are coming around on Miley. Yeah. I mean,
she's very talented.
She's very talented. I loved her speech. I read this New Yorker article that was like, Taylor's speech, was dog shit. No, it didn't say that, but it was like Miley's speech it was the New York Times. They said Miley's speech was a breath of fresh air. She kept it fun. She kept it light.
Miley worked in her win into her performance, song.
I just won a Grammy.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and then in Flowers ripped. I mean, I'm glad that she finally has her first Grammy. Her performance was good. She looked cool.
Yeah. I know you will never say this, but her body's poppin'.
She
was wearing vintage Bob Mackie.
I'm going to make an exception. No, I'm
you
just
agree?
kidding. No, but she did look cool. And people put that amazing meme where they showed Miley Cyrus doing that squinty eye from the red carpet that everyone uses for Miley. They said first season housewife, and then they said fourth season housewife with her new look. And I was like, that is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get into Vanderpump Rules recap, which is really all we're going to focus on, and a little bit of Beverly Hills, I'm just going to read, because there are 3 people who care about the reality of a scandal. This is the last chapter I'm going to do before you and I do our writer's retreat, and we're going to come back with the 90 pages. So this is it for a while, but I'm just going to go through the 2 pages I added, just so we can get to the place where everyone knows where we left off, and then you and I are going to do our writer's summit where Mank wrote Citizen Kane.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So just to catch everybody up, we saw Tom Sandoval make love to Raquel. They started their affair. You and I had a telepathic connection where we knew there was a disturbance in the universe based off Tom Sandoval cheating, right, on Ariana. So we go into a tunnel to reconnect with our father, who also has telepathic abilities, because we need to get advice about what is going on in the universe that kind of shattered the shimmer that we have.
Yeah.
Do you remember those?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're in the tunnel. Also, our father is Cedric, who was the sort of house guest in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Yeah. Ken and Lisa's house guest. He is our dad, and he's played by Robert De Niro, if we can get him. Okay. So we said, hi, Dad. That's last where we left. We just had greeted him in the tunnel. He's covered in garbage. Okay. So Cedric says, come embrace me, my children. Cedric opens his arms, and a bunch of wet garbage drops to the ground. Amy and Riley look at each other. Amy, can we just do a shimmer hug? Cedric, why yes, that's even better. Amy and Riley close their eyes, and Cedric receives the shimmer hug and clutches himself, smiling. But then he becomes concerned by something he feels from their telepathic hug. Cedric, something is not right. Amy, Riley, what is it? Riley, Father, we felt a shimmer last... Father, we felt a shimmer last night. Amy, but we don't know what it means. Cedric, So you still have need for your father. Cedric laughs loudly, causing more garbage to fall off of him. Cedric, come hold my hands. Sorry, I'm getting scared because I think Taylor Swift keeps knocking on my door. Come hold... What did I say? Okay, sorry. Cedric, come hold my hands and I can process your shimmer. Amy, can we hold hands using the shimmer? This is because he has a lot of garbage on him. Cedric, no! Amy and Riley walk up and reluctantly hold each of his hands. Cedric pulls them closer. He begins to rock back and forth, and then his eyes go wide and they roll back in his head. Garbage starts to levitate off the ground. Cedric, in a toneless voice. A great chasm opens between two who shared love. The abyss now widens between the worm and a dove. Amy and Riley exchange confused glances through the whirlwind of detritus. Cedric, it is in the place of two Toms when this act will unfold within her palms. His acts which betray will come on March's first day. As Cedric finishes his prophecy, garbage and gross liquid starts to fly uncontrollably around them. Cedric, something is happening out of my control. The tunnel starts to shake and pieces of the concrete start to fall. Debris falls from the ceiling and blocks off the path that Amy and Riley came from. Cedric, my children, you must leave now. I can't hold it off for much longer. Take the path here to West Hollywood. You will no longer be able to go back the way you came. Cedric points weakly at a new tunnel path, fully concentrating on controlling the chaos around him. Riley, goodbye, Father. Amy and Riley race out of the tunnel following Cedric's new path. Okay, so he gave a prophecy.
Yeah.
Right? That came through, right?
Yes.
Sort of a prophecy, where we can sort of parse what he means from that.
March's first day.
Yep, March's first day. Interior tunnel day. Amy and Riley walk into the new tunnel. After some time in the tunnel, the concrete slab walls are replaced with more decorative flair. Riley, who the hell decorated this? Amy, I think I know. Amy sees a patch of dirt covering a sign on the wall and uses her hand to wipe it off. The word Sir is revealed, looking like an ancient rune. A path to the right leads to stairs. They walk up them. Interior, Sir employee bathroom, day. Amy and Riley open a small door near the Sir toilet and peek their heads out hesitantly. There is no one there. They climb out. Riley, a tunnel that leads directly to Sir? Amy, so that's how Lisa and Ken can navigate through Vanderpump Row. Riley, I guess. What the hell is going on? Amy, I don't know, but can we talk about this at the bar? Riley nods. They leave the bathroom. Interior, Sir restaurant day. Amy and Riley walk out of the bathroom together. Peter Madrigal is walking by. Riley, trying to sound casual. Hey, Peter, we were just using the bathroom together. Peter, hey, Amy and Riley, I love that you're doing that. Probably saves more time. Amy, yes, definitely. Peter, have a seat at your table. I'll have someone come take your drink order. Amy, thanks, Peter. Amy and Riley breathe a sigh of relief and sit down in their reserved booth. Immediately, a friendly face comes to take their order, but we don't see their face yet. Server, Amy, Riley, I'm so glad you're here. Do you want your classic margarita order? Amy, you know it. Riley, you just said the magic words. We cut to the server's face. It's Rachel Levis. Rachel, by the way, after trying your margarita recipe, I told Lisa that they should be the official Sir Margarita, and she said yes. You're really changing things around here. Amy, well, hopefully not too much change. Rachel smiles and then gets somber. Rachel, no, not too much change. We wouldn't want that. Rachel walks away. Riley, despite whatever is going on with the shimmer, we can always count on Sir to be the same. Amy watches Rachel walk away. Contemplatively. Amy, I'm starting to think maybe we can't. ...
Wow.
So that was longer actually than I thought. I'm so sorry. That was about 5 minutes, but I just,
I like the coloring in of the legacy of the Chud Tunnel.
That was the main focus of this scene, to show how Cedric's tunnel and the tunnel that we're accustomed to will lead to the Chud tunnels that we know and love around Vanderpump Row.
Yeah.
That was the main focus. Also to establish that at some point at Tom Tom on March's first day, something cataclysmic is going to happen, which, for the audience, we're going to know what that is.
Exactly.
Also establishing that you and I are sort of integral to the Sir ethos and they love us there.
Yeah.
And then the fact that at this point no one knows we think Rachel is this wonderful, beautiful person, and we don't know at this point that she's cheated with Tom.
Right. But she knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the last of the reality scandal for a while until we do the retreat, because now, I want this to be a collaboration instead of just surprising you with all this weird shit like Cedric and all this stuff. So that's
Someone wrote in that they think that I should be the one that drives the motorcycle.
Oh, who said that? I
One of
love
our
that.
VIPs.
Oh, I look at every comment that's about reality of a scandal. So I didn't see that one. So I love that. You are for sure riding the motorcycle. I will be the one who's wrapped around you in the back, sort of, just letting you lead. I would love that.
Yeah. Or maybe like Jiggy could drive the motorcycle and we're both in a sidecar.
I would totally love that. I haven't even factored that in yet, but I would love if Jiggy was,
maybe we can bring Jiggy back to life with magic.
Let's do it.
Soap opera rules. No one's actually dead.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely bending some of the the reality here. I think so we can definitely add something like that.
Great.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to read the reality of a scandal. That's it until the writers' retreat. Amy and I think we should take maybe one little certified turtle squirt, or sorry.
Okay,
Pits.
Sandoval squirt. Diet squirt.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Sorry, a little certified turtle piss, we call them.
Yeah.
Let's do that, and then we're going to come back fully raring to talk about Vanderpump Rules in every minute little detail,
Yes.
and then maybe a little smidge of Beverly Hills at the end of it.
The Beverly Hills smidge.
Beverly Hills smidge. I liked Beverly Hills, but not,
No, they needed a trip for sure.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Got him. Okay. All right, so let's piss, and then we will come right back.
All right.
We're back.
Hi.
Do you feel better at all?
I feel good. I feel like this episode was fun.
Oh, this Vanderpump Rules episode?
Yeah. The ultimate betrayal.
This episode to me was very good.
Why is it called that?
Because James calls what Tom Sandoval did to him personally the ultimate betrayal.
Do you agree?
The ultimate? I mean, I think it's good in terms of coining something that James can use, to call this something, in terms of what's that called when you branding it that.
I feel like to Ariana it was the ultimate betrayal. I feel like James falls. I guess maybe it's just in stark comparison to Ariana's version. James's doesn't seem as bad.
Right. Yeah. Him saying it's the ultimate for him. I didn't even think about that. It's the ultimate betrayal for Ariana.
Yeah.
For sure. His is a minor, but I don't know.
I think under normal circumstances, it would have been totally fucked up.
Right.
But compared to what actually happened, it just doesn't read as harshly.
Yeah. I think he wanted to I think he was just being slightly hyperbolic, but he's finally ready to say this is a betrayal. It's something that we talked about this last week, that he never really took that, made that a part of his part in this.
Right.
He was more just offended by the full scandal of it, and just saying his take on how Tom Sandoval needs to grow up and how he's a worm. But now he's ready to talk about his place in this thing and what Sandoval did to him as sort of a big brother figure.
Right. Yeah. Make a meal of it. So yeah, the first sight we see on this episode is, again, Ariana's room, a mess.
So I clocked it this time. I think I was writing notes last week and I didn't really truly know what the hell you were talking about. I just took your word for it. I fully saw now the room.
Yeah.
Tom Sandoval's was not messy, in my opinion.
Right.
Not too messy. There's one box.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I don't quite understand, is that he's the one that had to move out of that room. All of her stuff seemingly would have already been in that room. So I don't get why this whole situation would have thrown her room into a mess, being that she already lived there. If she had to move rooms, I would understand why her new room would look like that. There were boxes, so I'll give her some benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think she is still in flux in this house more than she's even talking about now in this era. She's claiming this is her house. She's staking her ground in the house that they co-owned. But I do think at this point in Ariana's life, she is the most famous person, almost in the world.
Yeah.
The 3 months after Sandoval. So I do think that her room is just getting a lot of has random shit in it because she's either moving, just moved back in. She's been sent flowers 100 times and 100 other gifts and products that she can't leave in their shared spaces.
Right.
So I think it's just the accumulation of all of the, I'll just say, shit that she's acquired throughout this fame run that she's on.
Yeah.
And so I can kind of excuse a sloppy room because I know in no way is that like what Ariana's room looks like at all times. I think she just didn't even want to clean up for Vanderpump Rules when they were filming.
Yeah. I need to go back and watch. It's hard to say because whenever they showed their house previously, they never had finished their house because they said they didn't want to buy stuff until they found what they liked. So remember they used like folding chairs and like rent-a tables and stuff when they'd have people over.
But I do remember a scene where like their room did seem clean because like they had an espresso machine in there. I remember Tom like yawned and he got up and he goes, "Dumpling, can I make you a little espresso or a latte?" Yeah. And their room looked clean then.
Yeah. Well,
I just blame it. I have to blame it on the constant influx nature of Ariana's life right now.
Sure. I also, as predicted, Tom's introduction was in fact the toilet flush. So they used that in the trailer as the, they didn't want to waste it. They used that as a funny intro.
What do you think they were trying to say?
It was like it's like embarrassing, like it's like kind of like selling him out.
But I will say for the most part though, like I agree with you. Like they wanted him post toilet, like with a huge loud flush. But the rest of the episode, I felt like they didn't they didn't actively try to paint Sandoval in a negative light.
Yeah.
They gave him a lot of opportunity to present himself and not give him like a shady edit. This was like I guess they just wanted to start out with a little toilet flush.
Right.
Just to show us like Sandoval's in the toilet right now.
An initial joke. He had just come back from World's Toughest Test, which he said was one of the hardest things he's done in his life. They, show what he's been through online. They show a little collage of some of the online discourse. I screenshotted it. It's the classic. It's like scum devil. Sandoval smells like cheap cologne, wet dog, and vodka.
Wet dog.
Cheaters are never to be trusted. Sandoval looks like a 70s gay porn star, lying narcissist. Anti-mustache.
Did you see the one from Turtle Time?
Where we're like, hey, you guys, let's think about this for a minute.
No, I didn't even look at the hate. I absorbed it in 1 second. I just knew exactly what everybody said at this era. I mean, he was the most hated figure in the world. Yeah,
it's like what a tool, stuff like that. It is like they let him they didn't give him too much sympathy, but they sort of let him represent himself.
Yes. Yeah, this was a very Tom Sandoval centric episode, which you'd expect. Because he was missing from the premiere. But he's saying all of this to, I thought, a new shining star in the Vanderpump Rules universe, which is his assistant Ann
Maddox.
Ann Maddox.
Why and how on earth is that her last name?
I think it was
spelled differently.
I think it was fate. I just think that I don't know, at some point in his life before this whole thing happened, he was drawn to another person with that same last name. But Ann's energy in this entire episode, I was like, this is such a unique energy to the Vanderpump Rules universe. I've never seen someone on camera who has acted like this. It was like she was so... First of all, she's in the worst position in the world.
Worst job in history
between Ariana and Tom. But also, I thought her, like, the way she acted and how, like, sort of sweet she was, and how, like, she has, like...
She's, like, timid and doesn't want to impose upon anyone.
And apologizing for everything. Like, having to bounce back between Ariana and Tom. And, like, I just thought, like, I've never seen anything like that. Like, I thought that her energy was just so fun and fresh in the Vanderpump Rules universe. It was really sweet. So he's basically, he's telling her all of this stuff, like that he went on Special Forces. He wanted penance through pain.
Yeah. And then he's like, so Anne, tomorrow's my birthday. And she's like, I know, happy birthday. And he's like, I wanted to have some people over, have a little party. Can you, check with Ariana? Obviously, she's invited if she wants to come. I can get her a nice hotel if she doesn't want to come. And she's like, yeah, that would be nice. And you're like, so obviously this gets into more detail and there's back and forth or whatever. I'll just start by saying, some people are saying that's his right, which technically is true.
Right.
I say, maybe this is the time you don't have a party at your house while everything is completely in flux and you guys are living separate lives. Maybe do your party somewhere else.
Yeah, I think so. This is one scene where I didn't analyze it in terms of like production and like what they need, right. Because I didn't want to get into that world where it's like he has to have a birthday or a party at his house because this
right.
is just like great drama or whatever. Yeah. So I just thought, you're right. Like Ariana has a clear win here by just saying like, just go somewhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like she technically can't tell him no because he co-owns it. But it's like if you're, say, fighting with your husband or your boyfriend or your roommate, you're in a bad spot, like then you would say, I can't host right now because there's some weird shit going on.
Yeah, it's true. It kind of makes me think about sort of what like Lala and Ariana were talking about, where it's like he enjoys asserting dominance and like annoying you right now because he like gets attention from this, which could be another reason why he's doing stuff like this.
Right.
And in addition to being a great thing to have on Vanderpump Rules. This, like, in terms of Tom Sandoval's birthdays, this was a wild one.
Yeah, for sure. We get to see Kitty the cat again.
Yes.
And as we've discussed, we see all three cats in this episode. And I think whoever's editing this season loves cats because we've never seen this many appearances.
Kitty, Mr. Banks, and then
the unnamed Sheena Tabby.
That one didn't get a lower third.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because Salem used to get a lower third.
Oh.
But I don't know where he has gone. He's probably passed. But then they show that Sandoval has invested in a white noise machine that for some reason he blasts in the hallway so that people can't overhear his conversations, I guess.
He said that people were like sneaking outside of his door. Like Ariana's guests were sneaking and reporting on things that he would say to his friends. Like when he'd have like Jason and Kyle Chan over, like there'd be like text chains about the things that Sandoval was saying. So he blasts this white noise machine in the upstairs area.
Yes. And then Anne asks Ariana about the potential party, and she's like, absolutely not.
I find that very disrespectful. Yep. First of all,
she said, if there are people here making noise, I'll call the cops. Thank you. And Anne's like, okay,
I'm so
sorry.
Okay, that sounds really good. Okay, enjoy walking Maya. I have to ask, and this is controversial or whatever, but like given Anne's demeanor and how hard this is for Anne, like we just know, like even though she's Sandoval's assistant, she's doing a lot of work for both of them, right? She's sort of like, she is helping Ariana in a way that they have this mediator.
Yeah.
Did you think Ariana, I know it was all aimed at Sandoval, but do you think that she was slightly a little rude to Anne for being the mediator?
Yeah.
I was just like, Anne's energy was so sweet, and it's a classic don't kill the messenger.
Exactly.
And
she was like, at one point, she was like, I'll be doing what I already do she basically says, I'll do whatever the hell I want in my own house. And I'm like, why do you have to say it like that to her?
Yeah, she said, I'm going to continue to exist like I always do within my house. And the way she said it, even though the recipient is Tom Sandoval, you're saying it to Anne, who's just sitting there going like, oh my God, this is horrible. And Anne's texts are so caveated with apologies. And I'm so,
it's
I'm so sorry.
Hey, sorry to bother you, but I have to ask if this would be okay. Let me know. If not, I'm sorry.
I know it's horrible, and I don't even want to bother you right now. That's how I text, to be honest. How Anne's text.
Tiptoeing.
So I just thought that Ariana, I know that you have that righteous fury. It's not fury, but you have righteous indignation.
Well, sure, but it's like, how are you guys supposed to exist without a person like that?
Right. And I was thinking, like, I know Anne is the proxy for Tom Sandoval, but like I said, she's doing something for you too by not making you have to deal with these things,
Right.
you know, with Tom directly. So I just didn't think even a little of that spirit that should have gone to Tom should have gone to Anne. Because Anne, for me, watching Anne's behavior and like how she acted and how like horrible of a situation this was, that was like the worst recipient for that kind of attitude. If it was like Billy Lee or
Right.
Kyle Chan,
Like one of his allies.
Jason, if he said Jason's my assistant now, and Jason was like, you know, I am Tom Sandoval's ally, so like here's what Tom Sandoval wants, deal with it. But Anne is like so equivocal, or like fully trying to do the best she can for Ariana as well, because I'm sure on a deeper personal level she fully understands what Ariana is going through. So
She could have added in like I'm sorry, like, thank you for like mediating. This is not aimed towards you, but tell him to fuck off.
Yes, exactly. Like I'm specifically, I am not killing the messenger, but it just makes me so mad. And maybe they cut scenes like that. You know, maybe Ariana is good, but from what we got to see as viewers, I was like, Ariana, keep this fury, not fury, but whatever, righteous anger in check, because Anne is trying her best.
I think it was also maybe for the camera, not that she was performing for the cameras, but she wanted to show that she's like not letting anything slide.
She's like, this is how I would react to Tom Sandoval if he was telling me this. Like, I don't want you to forget how I'm acting towards Tom Sandoval, even though it's to Anne, one of the sweetest people I've ever seen on television.
They should have her be bartender.
I know. I was like, I kept getting more and more sold on Anne, not just from this scene, but every other scene in the future.
I hope she was making a good wage during that time.
I have to assume she was. And she just started a podcast.
She did.
It's called We Signed an NDA.
Ooh.
And she's talking about, I think, being an assistant. I guess whatever she can say apart from the NDA.
Every time you open your mouth, you're telling me who now has a podcast.
Yeah, I just told you when we were pissing in the toilet together, I said, Billy Lee just started a podcast right now. She just published it. It's called Billy and the Kid. And it's Billy, and she has a kid co-host named Little Timmy. And her and Little Timmy talk about Sandoval and Billy's place in Sandoval's home. So it's called Billy and the Kid. Not to plug, 'cause that's a free plug, but that just came out. Speaking of everyone having a podcast. And then Kyle Chan has a podcast. We know Jason has a podcast. He's on the Sandoval one.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay. Okay, so then we go to Villa Rosa.
We do?
Yeah, really quick. Just really quick. My favorite was that Lisa's getting ready to go to the Goodbye Pump event, and her hairstylist is like, how are we going to do your hair today? Should we put it up? And she goes, no, we can't put my hair up. This is not a party, not a celebration. And I love knowing that in her mind, if you put your hair up, it's special celebratory occasions only.
Yes.
It would be inappropriate
I
to
love
put
that
your
too.
hair up.
I did not realize that was how she, like, what she took into the equation when she's factoring in different hairstyles.
Yeah, I guess in retrospect, she rarely has her hair up.
No, right. I was trying to think of, she had her hair up maybe at Katie and Schwartz's wedding when she did her beer bong. I think I remember her hair being up before she barfed.
And maybe for Pandora's wedding. I remember she wore a tiara, but I don't remember if her hair was
so
up or
it's
down.
rare and it has to be a good occasion. So we did learn that. I really like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is one of Lisa's rare L's in the Vanderpump Rules universe. Like, she wants to properly let the audience know that this is sad and that this is not at all, can't be construed as like a win or like there's nothing better to make of this. It's just a bummer that Pump is closing. Yeah,
she said that Ken's looking to retire, and basically the rent was going way up and they would have to sign for another 10 years. And she said, Ken will be in his 80s. I'll be in my 40s.
That was sweet.
Which
I like that.
I loved. But I'm like, Ken's not already in his 80s?
I thought the same thing, but I didn't want to be rude. I think he's probably 77 the last time we checked.
Yeah.
And he was like, she's like, I don't want Ken crawling around the tunnels under Pump at 80.
Yeah, on his hands and knees crawling around. They show it later, but they show a Pump montage, which of course includes the olive trees, but they didn't show the digging of the tread tunnel.
No, but you could see where that tree was going to be planted, that there was already sort of a way deeper hole than the tree needed under. I can't believe that I forgot that she fully planted those for her environment.
Yeah.
And that is a huge loss, those beautiful olive trees.
That's all I think about ever. Then we get a check-in with James and Allie. They're talking about getting a dog,
Yes.
which is interesting.
Now, I've never seen Vanderpump Rules look like this. The way the James and Allie walk was shot, it was so bright and like harsh, beautiful light. And in that neighborhood in Burbank, wherever the hell they were walking in the middle of the street, that James said is the most peaceful walk you could ever have in Los Angeles. I've never seen it look like that. I think because they never film in that area, it just felt like, to me, that scene felt like out of place, like almost a different show.
I feel like there were some multiple moments in this episode where the style seemed a little new.
Yeah, this was new to me, like the filter that was on it. And I had to ask you about this because they talk about graham cracker.
Yes.
And they talk about James wanting a dog. And Allie says, let's think about this. That's a huge decision. She's like, she wants to be cautious or whatever. Some people were saying, conspiracy hat, tinfoil head, people were saying, is there any chance that this was filmed
After
to allow for a very powerful storyline to have James and Allie specifically talking about Graham? And then they show Lisa asking James about
she's
Graham.
like, where's the dog?
She goes, where the hell is that dog that you used to have? And I'm just saying, like, if it was true, this was real and it was filmed in real time, and like they were really talking about a dog, and Lisa legitimately asked about Graham, and that just happened to be the perfect thing, that's amazing. That is like, wow, what are the odds? But with Lisa involved asking about Graham, I always am a little suspicious of what Lisa does to the timelines a little bit.
Because what are the odds that they would be filming? Because I don't think until there was all that weird news about the dog, if someone goes to rehab, I'm not like, where's the dog?
Right.
I'm kind of like, her family probably has the dog.
Yeah, everyone would have assumed, I think. So I wanted to like allow for that like conspiracy read of it, but I just choose in an instance like this to believe that it was just perfectly timed for some reason.
Sure. We'll give benefit of the doubt.
For sure. But really, this, apart from saying I miss Graham and showing pictures of Graham, like, which is so perfect, he goes, it breaks my heart to imagine Graham in a cactus infected land like Arizona. And then, the other point of the scene is just to say that they're not going to be at Pump. So this was really a very dog-focused, Graham-focused scene, apart from saying they won't be at Pump. So that is like, oh, they got out the cameras and they filmed this walk just to talk about you guys wanting a dog.
Right.
That almost makes it a little
sus.
Unbelievable.
For sure. Then we go back over to Tom's. He invites one of his who's who friends, Jason, over, which you said he's on his podcast now.
Yeah, so Jason is Tom Sandoval's like best friend post Sandoval. He's the manager of his band, co-host of his podcast, and I would say the most ride or die in addition to Kyle Chan and Billy Lee. Like, of that trio, Jason is his number one boy.
It's a real motley crew, but at least I will say he has to have at least those people, otherwise things could have gone terribly wrong. We have to at least let him have his little ragtag gang, as little as I like to watch them.
How did you think Jason came off?
I mean, he's just kind of a yes man.
I thought that, he came off, okay for his first appearance. I mean, I sort of have, what's that called? I already know of him, based off listening to the podcast and everything. But I did think that he was there for Tom Sandoval to not say his true feelings, to look bad, to have Jason voice, the takes that he has. Because he tells Jason, he says, man, just so you know, Ariana said no to the birthday party. I don't know. He didn't even say like, I think that's bad, or like she's being horrible. And he lets
Jason's like, is she even allowed to tell you no? Like, we should do it anyway.
Oh, that's so weird. He's like, you deserve a party. It's just your friends gathering, for your birthday.
She's having people over all the time.
Yeah. So I feel like he is there specifically to be a surrogate, to say the devil's advocate / viewpoint that Tom Sandoval actually has. But Tom Sandoval is thinking about the audience at this point.
Right.
So he's like, you say it.
It's not a bad idea.
No, right. It's not.
Also, Jason only wanted to drink water, but then Sandoval offered crushed ice for the water, and I was like, honestly, I love that.
Yeah, and Jason said, how did you know, that I would want crushed ice in addition to water? That was perfect.
The sign of a homeowner being a bartender, because he prioritized getting that ice machine put in, which is like my ultimate dream.
I know. Remember in the summer when we were so hot, we were talking like we had the ice minute every week?
Yes.
That was so fun.
I know. I just don't want one of those countertop ones because they're so hard to clean. So one day maybe I can have a real professional one, which is also a big ongoing bit in Andy Cohen's Daddy Diaries book.
I remember because
it was so loud.
One of his neighbors says that ice machine is the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. So he has to get it replaced, right? And put it in his like lower area. Well, Jason goes, Jason is saying, you just should have people over. It's your birthday. It's not a big deal. Like, what the hell is going on? Saying what Tom really wants to hear. And then Anne says, has to interrupt. She goes, I'm so sorry. But, Ariana said, if you have a party, she's going to call the cops on you. And Jason gets stunned and he says,
jaw dropped.
Nuts. Right?
Yeah.
And then Tom says, well, at first he says, regardless of how Ariana thinks I'm a criminal, I don't think that the cops would specifically legally care.
I was playing that in my mind and I'm like, that's, I guess, responding to a domestic dispute, which maybe they would kick everyone out just so that the problem wouldn't persist.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think that I think he's trying to say, because he keeps saying how Ariana is labeling him like a psycho,
right,
and like a criminal and devious, and
like
they use those terms, like Lala used those terms. They were like, he is a subhuman. So he's saying, I think he's trying to push that back and just say, like, I know Ariana deems me a criminal for cheating on her, but the in the law of the land, they're not going to give a shit, but they would.
But like, I was just playing it out of my mind. I'm like, what would happen if the cops came to the door? I feel like they would just be like trying to de-escalate it and be like, this is a waste of our time. Can you guys just scrap this event so that we don't get called again?
Yeah, it would be like, it's like a mini Kim and Croy. They're going to domestic disputes about shit that they're going through, and they try to like work through it with them.
Yeah, that's like, I doubt she even actually, maybe she would actually do it, but at that point I would say that would be a waste of public resources.
Yeah, and I barely want to bring this up, but like, we've come a long way from like the 8th season where Katie and Ariana specifically talked about how horrific it is for some people to have the cops called on them. And it was like a huge storyline that I actually thought was like one of the best things that Katie and Ariana like fought for.
That's one of the things that I saw one of our videos that has a lot of comments on it. People are not letting us forget Schwartz's behavior during that prank. Like, I think that's one of his biggest red flags for people. Oh,
of course. I think I that is the worst that I've ever seen Schwartz in my life.
Yeah.
The way he drunkenly berates Katie and says that how he doesn't have sex with her because he's disgusted by her because of the opinions she has, that she doesn't like a prank where Tom Sandoval is so scared that he's getting arrested. It was like that. It was horrible.
And anyway, it was literally at like the peak. We won't get into it, but it was during peak reassessing the public's relationship with the police. So it was like horrendous timing.
Totally. And even without that layer, which I'm so glad that Katie and Ariana addressed that and added to it, it's just a horrible prank to put on anybody.
Yeah.
To scare them, to think that they're going to possibly go to jail for the night. We talk about prank humor all the time. It's one of the worst things you can ever do to people. That was like the end of prank culture for me ever. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not saying that she was doing that. And Ariana in the after show did say that she was being hyperbolic. So she would have never done it. I think it was just a very easy thing, snappy thing to say in response to Tom having people at the house. She did clarify in her confessional that she's thinking, I guess, historically, when Tom would throw a party like that, it would go till 6 a.m. It would be loud as hell, crazy, just huge and whatever, which I'm sure she participated with. It seemed like maybe at a certain point she was like, all right, that's enough for me, and she just tolerated it. But he was saying as an option, let's do a small group,
over by midnight.
Yep.
That was his offer.
And then Anne texts Ariana. She goes, so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to bother you, but I am so, so sorry. But Tom wants to have 12 people over and they'll get out at the stroke of midnight. I'm so, so sorry about this. Right? And then she ends up texting too fast because Tom wants to make a quick
He wanted
adjustment.
to say, I am having a party. It'll be over by midnight, not asking. And she was like, I already sent it. Sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry. What the hell can I do? I'm so
She's
sorry.
like, I have quick thumbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, did you happen to notice and watch the Madame Web ad with the Toms?
I didn't watch it. I use the breaks when I'm watching Vanderpump Rules very strategically to do certified turtle piss breaks or to feed, George or Archie or whatever. So I missed it and then I didn't go back to it.
Kind of amazing.
It's good?
It's wild.
Okay,
So
wow.
it happened very quickly because, they play those immediately, like before you even realize it's an ad or whatever. And it's like the Toms reenacting. It basically is, if I had Madame Web's powers, I would change so many things. And then they reenact famous fuck ups from the show, including ring on a string, joint bachelorette party, like the battered wife scene.
Wow.
And they play the old clip and then it shows them doing an improved version where they're it shows him, he opens the door where he's usually sitting on the toilet, but Schwartz in the new version is wearing a suit and a sash, and he hands him a glass of wine and they cheers and they're like, this is so much better.
Wow. So what are Madame Web's powers?
She can see the future.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
sort
then,
of like Cedric in Reality of a Scandal, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
And then there's the voiceover at the end that's Madame Web coming soon or whatever.
Madame Web, right?
Madame.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Madam.
I've never
Madam.
Madame. I've never heard of that Madame. I've never heard of that character.
Yeah, me
that
neither.
Superhero.
But Sandoval does the VO. That's Madame Web coming soon or whatever.
Does he say he would do Sandoval over again?
They go, anything you would do differently? And he goes, oh boy. That's
Really?
the end. Yeah.
And oh boy, at the end, I have to watch this.
Yeah. It's pretty, he needs the cash, I'm sure. So happy for them that they got that little cash out. I don't know if the internet was outraged about it. Jimmy was like, people are going to boycott Madame Web now because they hate Tom.
Yeah, I didn't tell you, but I'm boycotting it. I'm not going to see. I already had tickets to see it first night
I
in
thought
theaters.
Sydney Sweeney was your favorite actress of all time.
Is she in it?
She's yes. It's Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney.
Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. Never mind. I'm sorry, guys. I can't boycott it. I'm going to be there first night. Did you ever think it's interesting that Dakota Johnson and Dakota Fanning have the same first name?
It is wild.
So then next, I do want to watch. I'm going to watch
should.
that ad. Oh, so they go to What a Peach, Lala and Ariana.
Smoothie date.
Yeah, and I think this was the same afternoon where Ariana had to get out of her house to permit Jason to come in.
Yeah,
Ariana
she's wearing
was,
the same thing.
Yep. And I thought this scene was actually pretty good. In terms of the weight of what they're talking about, even though it's kind of a low-key scene, I sort of have to give Lala credit.
I was surprised.
I was surprised too for voicing the unheard voice that's not coming from the sewer of Tom Sandoval's mouth.
Yeah.
For voicing an alternative to Ariana's perception of things that is not that's something that Sheena and Katie can't do.
Yeah.
And not be considered ride or die.
I'm surprised, Ariana, every time Lala has, in the first episode when she says she called Rachel or messaged her, whatever, and then here when she's starting to say, maybe just let Tom do some shit so that there's not drama or whatever, Ariana actually lets her say that without getting pissed, which I also am surprised by.
Yes, totally. Yeah, I mean, it seems like Ariana is in her confessionals talking about, this is not right what Lala is doing, but to Lala, she's being very respectful of their relationship.
Yeah.
And treating her well. So Ariana basically... Lala says, how's the living situation?
Yeah.
and then Ariana brings up what's going on now, the birthday party, that he wants to invite people. And she says, he offered to get me a hotel. And Ariana said her response, which is that it's my house.
Yeah.
I will be at my house. And then Lala says, but he's allowed to, have a birthday party
in his own house.
In his house, right?
Right. And she's like, and I'm allowed to call cops for a noise complaint. And she goes, why would you do that?
And I don't know why. I mean, like, I know, obviously, like, I just, for some reason, it struck me very powerfully, Lala's reaction to that, because
it makes it like embarrassing.
It's
Like,
like-
it's basically like, why are you being drama?
yeah, it's like, I know what Sheena and Katie's response would be. So far, when Ariana gives her take and
They'd
her
be like,
opinions,
obviously, yeah, fuck him. Yeah,
Yes.
hold your ground, whatever, which is fine. Like, that's also the friends that you need.
I want that. Yeah, I want that too. I'm fine. I love
Sure.
seeing how people are loyal to her. But I did think that Lala's devil's advocate was much better utilized instead of like the call with Rachel, which I thought was very forced.
Yeah.
Just questioning Ariana's decision making at certain points.
Yeah.
It is interesting to get to ask, to probe
Right.
into it and try to get to what is underneath.
And I feel
here.
like by the end, she kind of convinced her that it wasn't worth it. Like, she goes, after they say all that, she goes, wouldn't it be easier to move out? And Ariana's like, yeah, once the house is sold. And she's like, so you're saying you don't want to let him buy you out because you don't want to make his life easy? And she's like, yes. She's like, he broke the home. He doesn't get just like an easy way out or whatever, which I get. And I also understand that this is May or June or whatever.
Yes.
So I understand that they haven't worked that out or whatever. But the torture of this back and forth to me is not even worth like $100,000.
And you said that early. You said that, and I think Lala thinks that too, because she was saying in the after show,
Just like save yourself.
she said like your home is your like safe space and like your like where your energy is restored. She was like, why ever would you want to come back to the place with his, horrible energy
Yeah.
at the one place where you can like be yourself and do what you want to do? And like, so all I'm saying is that I'm giving Lala credit for asking questions that I think Ariana, I know she's very black and white in this moment, but I think it's good to hear someone question her rigidity. Is that what,
Yeah.
like her,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It was
And Lala
valuable.
had to like pack up her shit and leave what was her home
Yes.
because Randall sucked.
and then,
And she didn't get anything out of that.
right. But then they like on the after show, they were like, Lala did that, but like she didn't own the home.
No.
She was way easier for her to leave. But I still think her opinion on this is valuable. And
Yeah.
I'm glad she had the bravery to not just be fully like,
I think
whatever
that's-
you're saying is great.
Yeah, that's part of the benefit of them not being that close
Yeah.
is that she doesn't have to be afraid the
Yeah.
way that like Katie and Sheena, I think they're a little afraid of her. And they talk about Lala asked about Dan, the new boyfriend. And she's like, what does he think about you still living with him? And Ariana's like, he said he's looking forward to when I have my own space because we spend a ton of money when he comes to town, basically like renting a place or getting a hotel or whatever. And Lala's like, has this new guy opened your mind to the idea of having a family? And Ariana's like, she said that for the first time ever, she can imagine a different kind of life. And she said that Tom being her partner affected her outlook on having kids more than she thought, which I don't doubt, but she definitely came into that relationship with she was the one that held that opinion already.
Yes.
But I understand you might not even realize if you're with someone that you don't want to procreate with, you can just say, I don't want to procreate.
Yeah.
And because their lifestyle for so long was not like, he still wants to have a party. Like,
Yeah.
he's not drinking, but he still needs to have a birthday party despite all of this drama.
Yeah.
So I can understand why you'd be like, I'm not having a fucking kid with like someone that's well under their 40s and can't not throw himself a birthday party.
Yeah, I agree with that, and like I do take that to be mostly what is probably true, for Ariana in this instance. I did think it's pretty early in their relationship. I mean, they've been dating for 3 months at this point for Lala to ask that question. I know she wants to utilize this time with Ariana to ask some big questions, but I did think a part of me was like you said, I thought Ariana always had this stance against marriage and not having children, and I thought maybe a little bit of this would be like, that would really hurt Sandoval to hear.
Yeah.
That he had been the detriment and the reason why Ariana would never have kids with him, which is something it was like probably the wedge that was going to break them up before he even wanted to start cheating, and maybe a factor in like why they started to grow apart ultimately. So I took this as a little bit partially like
a dig.
A dig.
Yeah, for sure.
You think so too? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Ariana's feelings, because I do feel exactly what you said. Having Tom as a partner and him being like, let's do mushrooms and jet ski. Yeah. And like, I'll let Jason watch our kid. Like, obviously that would make you worried about bringing a child into the world. But I also just thought to talk about Daniel, like I always say this about how, like, when somebody gets a new boyfriend, they do this all the time where it's like, this is the best person in the world. I love them more than life itself. And it really shows just how pure shit my ex was. You know, people just don't properly calibrate this new relationship. And
it's
I thought
like
that
Tom in the early days with Ariana versus Kristen.
It's exactly that. And I just thought a little bit of it was like, oh, Tom Sandoval is going to be so hurt. Not that it matters. Like, I know she wants to hurt him, and she can hurt him. He hurt her so bad. So I thought this is like, they're using Daniel to just get at this new reality that Ariana wants to say, which is that Tom was not the right partner to ever bring kids in the world. And that's how she felt. And that's more for Tom.
The lifestyle that they both sort of agreed on, that they didn't have to change because they didn't have kids and didn't plan on having kids. So they didn't have to wind down towards any new way of being. And Lala also adds that when she hears that Dan is 40, never been married, no kids, she said her nips got hard.
Totally. And I mean, her nipples got really hard, I guess, at the end of the scene at What a Peach. I want to say this Lala scene, like, I was so down on Lala when she did that sort of contrived garbage with the Rachel call. But this Lala, that's just not sort of towing the Ariana line and not being, like, not questioning anything like how Sheena and Katie are doing, which I respect that. Just like we said, I like this Lala. And this scene to me, because this is the kind of conflict and dynamic that I like from season 11. Like, I like seeing how Lala and Ariana's dynamic is going to change based off how Lala views Sandoval and Sandoval now versus how Ariana views it. Like, this was a very nuanced scene, and it accomplished exactly what Lala wanted to accomplish last episode, but it was more within reason.
Right. I have no idea what I said last week. I don't remember, but I don't judge her as harshly as you for that message to Rachel, just because I see it as the POV, like the cynical way to look at it is that she wants a storyline and, she wants to involve herself in that story and the dynamic. The other way of looking at it to me is that she maybe regrets how she came off in the reunion and whatever. And so I think she kind of wants to absolve herself publicly, even though I'm sure that the public response is not great. I think she kind of wants to cleanse herself of the nastiness a little bit.
Yeah. And I was down on her just for it being like, it seemed so out of character, but like the scene where she talks about her relationship with Ariana and how she doesn't feel close. And then this scene, I'm like, I'm enjoying Lala. I don't want to be too down on her. And also, I don't doubt the fact that a producer just said, you absolutely have to leave a voicemail for Rachel because we want to lure her back into this show.
Sure.
And so she was just following like a producer driven storyline.
Right. Then we quickly go to Pump for that party. Sheena and Lala are dressed like, I don't know, like Romeo and Michelle, like Vegas hookers, for lack of a better word. And I'm pretty sure it's like a 1 p.m. event or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what time it is, but they're wearing hot pink and bright purple. There's feathers, there's sequins. And I'm like, where are you going?
Yeah. This scene to me overall, like, I was so glad that we got a goodbye to Pump, but this scene to me left the most was the least essential scene for me. Yeah. Just because, like, it ultimately, like, that wasn't a very good goodbye to Pump. Like, they didn't really give Pump its due besides the little speech, and nothing they really talked about really warranted this scene. And also, it was filmed and sounded like absolute shit.
I know. I feel like they just can't record at the restaurants anymore. It's too much.
That's what we were saying last week.
Yeah.
I know.
At Tom.
Like, it's just... You cannot go to the most popular place for Vanderpump Rules fans and film Vanderpump Rules with an open audience
unless you close it for a private event.
She should have done a private event. This would have hit so much harder if she closed Pump and had a night scene where they all come to pay their respects to Pump, and then even maybe Sandoval has to come and show up. This did not this was not a good tribute to Pump.
No,
ultimately,
she wanted to make that cash, but maybe they could have filmed before or after the public part.
They could have had the unofficial and then had a show
Right.
send off to Pump. But I mean, the audio was almost unusable.
Yeah.
Like Lisa, like you can tell what they're doing with the audio, which is that they're isolating just their track and removing all the hustle and bustle of the screaming or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it clips at a certain level to where like they sound like garbled, like a garbled mess.
Yeah, they're in GarageBand like us, trying to fix the crappy audio.
Right.
Yeah, there's like a brief moment with Schwartz talking to Lisa about how Sandoval is an absentee partner and that he's checked out. And Lisa isn't afraid of the public, I guess, because she is already like, I don't think he should put all the blame on Sandoval. He didn't think, hey, if I'm shagging my girlfriend's best friend, that my business will shutter. And I'm like, you don't have to go to bat for him every time.
No, she is. No, you're right.
Also, if one of her partners did something like that, I mean, he is one of her partners, but such a small amount. But if like Guillermo did something that fucked up Sir that badly, I think she'd be pissed.
What could Guillermo have done that would cause Lisa to cast him aside and ruin the Sir legacy? I can't even imagine.
It'd have to be pretty bad.
But yeah, I agree. And Lisa's, I mean, this has been Lisa's take since the reunion. She was the one who was trying to lessen the impact of Lala saying you're a dangerous person.
Yeah.
She has always been like, hey, everyone, this is in the realm of what we've all dealt with on Vanderpump Rules.
Sure.
So it's time to forgive him.
Well, she's also just so much older. Like, I feel like generally when you're, say, 50 plus, you kind of are like, you've seen it all.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you're like, I've been through shit. I've seen it all. I'm like weathered. You're like, this is not a fucking big deal. Like, I know 40 people that have broken up because of cheating. Like, please calm down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think we would want to hear Ken's take on this because I feel like he would be like, get over it right now. I don't want to hear one more word bad about
He'd
Tom
be like,
Sandoval.
I can't believe.
Can't believe they're still talking about Sandoval.
Every time you try to engage him, it's like a Woody Toy Story pull string, and he's like, I can't believe.
Yeah, and then he just says some random new thing that he can't believe.
There's 5 phrases
I can't
pre-recorded.
I
There's
can't
a snake in my boot.
I can't believe Apple came out with the new Vision Pro head goggles. You know what I mean? You can get him to say anything you want.
Oh, I would love a Villa Rosa VR.
Oh, what do you mean? So we could tap in and peek around their thing?
You can just walk around the yard and then hopefully not fall off the side.
Have you seen some of that shit in the Villa, or sorry, not the Villa Rosa VR, but in the Vision Pro goggle glasses
No.
of what it looks like? It's kind of wild. I'll tell you about it later. But
Can we go on tour and do one of our shows at the Sphere? And the Sphere is just Villa Rosa, and you feel like everywhere you look is 360 Villa Rosa.
Yes. Yes.
Do
First
you
of all,
think they would let us?
yeah. First of all, no, this is easy. I've got this. First of all, you and I pose as gardeners, or when we're going to the shed, we say we got to take care of some bugs here. Can we troll around?
We map it.
It's easy.
With a GoPro.
4K GoPro plus a drone. We say we have to find out all of the hidey holes of all the bugs on your property. So then we get 4K footage of all of the Villa Rosa, every nook and cranny of that thing. Then that's what we plug into the Sphere, which I think you just take a USB and pop it into the Sphere or whatever.
Yeah, you can even put a YouTube URL in and it'll upload.
We could easily do 4K YouTube or whatever. You just have to make sure that whatever you're projecting on the Sphere doesn't go on the outside. It would only go on the inside because we don't want all of Vegas to see that we're projecting the Villa Rosa interior and yard. You know what I mean?
I think U2 would let us take a couple dates.
What would that be? The first Turtle Time live show at the Sphere?
How many seats is that? I think we could fill it.
If we really said that we have all of the footage from Villa Rosa, we're going to do a detailed tour of it.
It's an international airport right there in Vegas. We can get everyone all around the world to fly in.
That sounds good. So if you're down for a sort of a Sphere occasion where we sort of do a tour around Villa Rosa using the 4K footage that Amy and I got from being fake gardeners around the property, let us know, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So Pump also, I just want to say, like, because we're saying, I'm tooting the horn of Vanderpump Rules. I'm saying how good everything was. This scene though, because they want, Lisa had to have this final scene. There's a lot of awkwardness about the cast and where they're sitting and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is only because I'm very tapped in, but like,
Katie's like, should we move our restless legs and go stand somewhere else?
She really literally, I think, said, "Let's." What do you say when you have to move your legs? Can we?
Yeah.
What do you say when you move your legs? Can we get on our feet?
Yeah,
She said
something like that.
I was like, and Ariana goes, and go somewhere quieter. And at first I thought it was because she didn't want to sit down with Schwartz.
Yeah.
But they probably couldn't hear anything. And
Yeah.
also when they go to their new table, they don't do anything at the table.
No.
All Sheena does is dance. And she goes, I wonder what they're talking about over there.
Right.
I just think that this whole thing was sloppy.
Yeah.
And they should have, like, I don't know. I know they had to say goodbye, but they should have scrapped it or refilmed Pump in a different way.
Yeah.
'Cause this was a sloppy scene and not a good tribute to the end of Pump.
Yeah. Did you get excited? So they started playing sort of like, did they just immediately start playing Good as Gold, or it has a different intro so you start to recognize
Yes.
it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is Good as Gold.
That was my reaction. They showed Echo Park Lake. They showed all of their like B-roll or whatever. But then I was like, I know this typically shitty song that they would be segueing in. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
not good as. But I'm like, wait, they finally used a good song.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we know. This is what we know and love. Good as Gold. And then I think it's the Screamo version, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So then they go into the studio. They give us a little emo night explainer.
Yes. Now the episode was a rippin'. I was already so happy with What a Peach. I was happy with Anne coming into play here, the Jason scene, everything. But then I'm like, God damn, we're going into the studio with Sheena again, and we're getting the full emo night introduction, which
Yeah.
I don't know how many Little Turtle Cuties remember, but like you and I got to go.
Yeah.
To be a
You
part.
have a history with emo night. Like you were an attendee well before this connection. So
Well-
it was an exciting collab for you specifically.
It was so exciting for me personally, and I am, I would say I am friends with TJ, the co-founder. I mean, I'm going to say it, TJ. I don't know if you're listening, but I'm calling you a friend. They're very sweet to me, and his wife Erin or whatever. So I was like, Vanderpump Rules is now like, I don't know, it's like encompassing more, like we already, I don't know, like we're kind of like, we go to Sir, we go to
Yeah.
like, we're like tapped into this universe, but seeing this too, like the crossover levels was wild.
Yeah,
and actually
totally
being
crazy.
there at this event. So anyway,
Yeah.
like Sheena singing the Good as Gold Screamo remix was just like one of the coolest things in the world.
Yeah. She says that because Brock is like, wow, I've never been in the studio with you, because she had taken a long break from music, and I had completely erased from my memory her 2019 music video with, is it Brett?
Brett.
From the Flop season, where it's like a very erotic music
Yes.
video that everyone gave her so much shit for. And I truly, like, that season to me is deleted from the canon.
No, okay, yes, exactly. I mean, no, it's not deleted from my canon. I'm a season 9 defender. And what I thought is that I did sort of forget that song, and the music video is wild. I mean, they have Brett like on top of Sheena, fake, like humping her in his jeans. Like it's
I guess supposed to be humorous.
what? Oh, was it? Oh, I wasn't sure because the scenes they take in isolation, I didn't know it was supposed to be
It's
humorous.
so over the top that I feel like it starts out as like sort of starting as what would be a sexy maybe R&B video, and then it gets so outrageous that it becomes humorous, I think.
Okay. Oh, then if that's the case, then they kind of didn't supply the proper context because it made it just look really bad. But I was kind of sad that I know people don't like that video and they didn't like Brett and they don't want to see him like hump Sheena in jeans or whatever. But I was kind of sad that the haters sort of won and ended Sheena's music career a little bit.
Yeah.
Like she's allowed to have a song that just doesn't pop as hard as like Good as Gold.
Yeah.
Like she let the haters win.
It's true.
You know what you know what I mean? Like I kind of felt bad for her. Like
Yeah.
when she was saying like the hate for that video. Like I kind of wish that we would have been commentating or talking about stuff like that, because I would have never let her feel that bad for having that sexual video with Brett. I would have been
Right.
like, this song's okay. Like
Yeah. She was like, you're not that great of a singer. Let's just quit while we're ahead. Like, and I'm like, well,
but now she's coming back and like I like her songs. Like Christmas Sleigh or whatever was good. I like the Good as Gold Screamo remix. I feel like there's been another song.
Uber Eats.
The Uber Eats song is amazing. I'm just saying that like I was sad to hear that the reaction from One More Time was so negative that Sheena put down the mic.
Yeah.
And then Emo Night revitalized it. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a success story a little bit for Emo Night, that
true.
they reignited her passion for music.
It's true. Here she introduces something that I feel like we can just wait and talk about when they get into
Yes.
detail, but she reveals that she was diagnosed with postpartum OCD and that she hasn't let anyone basically but her mom babysit Summer Moon because she has it like terrifies her and gives her so much anxiety. But there's in a couple scenes they go into it, so I feel like we can talk about it there.
Totally. But she just with her postpartum OCD, like she really has trouble navigating like who can take care of Summer. So it's like, we'll talk about it. But I do want to just give credit to Sheena for laying down the screamo version of those lyrics in one take, where she does that I forget the line that
like,
she screams.
"Have a good time," or whatever.
It was pretty awesome.
They were all like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
But,
it was
okay.
great. And Brock goes, I love seeing my wife like this. Like, he was so proud of her.
She's very comfortable.
Sheena killed it this episode too.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this was a good showcase for what all of them bring in a real, just like grounded way without anyone taking it to extremes.
Yeah.
Like, James was great and utilized well. Schwartz did a great, for Schwartz, like everyone shined in this episode.
Yeah.
Sheena especially. I mean, her scenes were actually the deepest I've ever felt about like the emotional stakes of what Sheena's going through in a while.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, then we see Tom and Tom meeting up at the Belmont.
Right, which is a establishment that they go to often. Saucy and Bo go there. I think Greg is a co-owner of Belmont, and because they went to Belmont so often, I think that might have been the bridge to having him start Schwartz and Sandy's with them, potentially. I think that's accurate.
Right. So yeah, Sandoval's still not drinking. He reveals... Oh yeah, we kind of skipped by at one point. Sandoval said earlier when he was talking to his friend Jason, he revealed in his confessional that he's still very much in love with Rachel, which we
right.
didn't mention, which
What?
I was kind of surprised by, which I guess is kind of a reminder of how early days this era still is.
Yeah, and then Jason asked, he goes, how long has it been since you've talked to her? And I felt like Tom Sandoval took a minute before he said it's been a few weeks, because I feel like he was sort of wondering if he should lie or not, because he did really pause. But obviously things are not going well if he hasn't talked to her
Right.
for 2 full weeks when he's seemingly in love.
Right. And he says here that he got sober when Rachel went away to her facility or whatever, because she had to be sober there. And so he felt like in solidarity, he would not drink. Schwartz greets him and he says, I feel like you're like a mythological creature, like a cryptid.
Yeah, and so it's sort of a cold reception from Schwartz.
Yeah.
And I know it really probably hurts Schwartz to give someone a cold reception, because
Yeah.
he's such a, wants to...
I'm kind of proud of him.
Me too.
Like, he was still nice. He's still meeting up with him. He still goes to the birthday, but he gives him some tough love. And at one point, Sandoval's like, are you going to stay on my side or what? And Schwartz says, I'm going to do what's good for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, he's never said that in his life.
Yeah, I never heard him say me before. I wanted to ask you, before we brush past it, what is a krypton?
I think I couldn't tell if he said it sounded like he said krypton, but I think he meant cryptid, which is like...
What's a cryptid?
It means a creature that is found in stories that some people believe exist or say they have seen, but has never been proven to exist, i.e. like a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch,
Wow.
something like that.
He really pulled from the brain archives for that. Like, that was a
He's-
cryptid.
Yeah.
I thought, my take is so much worse. I thought like a Kryptonian from Krypton, like Superman's home planet.
Yeah.
But yours makes so much more sense.
Cryptid.
Whoa, I never heard that before.
I wonder if he fancies himself a little bit of a, ancient aliens kind of a guy. I feel like him and Craig could maybe bond in that area.
Okay, so maybe that's what he was pulling from.
Yeah. So then, they get into the nitty gritty of Schwartz and Sandy's. He's like Schwartz felt totally abandoned during this time. Sandoval says that he was going through it because Ariana didn't pay any bills for like 8 months. He said his bank account was literally overdrawn. He had to pull, you know, 500 here, 500 there to pay their mortgage. You know, he's covering that, gardening, cleaning, like all of the household expenses, which I guess he's just doing out of guilt. But I feel like at a certain point you can just be like, I don't know, like, make her pay.
Ariana spoke about this on the after show, which is now becoming essential to the viewing experience because they answer a bunch of questions. She said that she's requested 3 times for written statements of exactly what needs to be paid because she doesn't trust Tom's accounting. And then Tom Sandoval said in retort or rebuttal to that, he's like, what do you think? I'm faking the Spectrum bill? It's like, this is it. It's $80 or whatever. She said, well, I found out that I was overpaying for my mortgage, that you weren't properly or accurately telling me what my monthly payments were on the mortgage. So I don't trust you at all. And I've asked 3 times for him to give written statements that are like verified by someone, and he has not done it. So there's always a counter to what Sandoval says.
I figured there was more there. Sandoval's pissed that Schwartz talked about him on Jax's podcast of all people. That particularly rubbed him the wrong way. And Schwartz is saying, I wish that you were just around to help us with, you know, Schwartz and Sandy's turned into a shitstorm. I wish that you were pitching solutions like, should we hire a PR team? Should we try XYZ? And he said, it seems like you didn't give a shit.
Should I wear a mask? Should Tom Sandoval dress as a different person in sort of a Mission Impossible mask and sort of go around?
That said, I think I totally like feel sorry for Schwartz, and I mean, maybe that'll get me in trouble too, but I understand that he had to do that by himself and it was really stressful and whatever. I also understand that Sandoval, I imagine for at least a month, couldn't, if I were him, couldn't do a single goddamn thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, and that goes to when James said, when the hell were you going to text me? It's like, buddy.
Imagine what his phone looked like.
Buddy, I'm sorry. I was having trouble for the 3 months post Sandoval. But I do understand why Schwartz. No, you're right. I mean, you that's the proper counter. But I do think that like it is. Yeah, you're right. I'm not even going to say because Schwartz said it. It's like it makes sense why he thought that Schwartz would do something to rally business. But also, you can totally understand Sandoval why his head was not in the proper place to do anything that he had to deal with.
Yeah, I assume he was just. You know, this is not me defending him. I'm just saying I have a feeling he was, and I think he probably said this, like was literally surviving like day to day, like trying not to just die.
Yeah,
because
of course.
The entire world wanted him
Can I say
dead.
Can I say a mean thing about Sandoval?
Yeah.
Really?
Always.
I can say something sort of a little rude about Sandoval.
Yeah.
So his little grudge against Schwartz, saying that little snippet of that Jax podcast of him saying, you know, we're dying at Schwartz and Sandy's and you're living out your rock star dreams.
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad.
No.
That wasn't bad
it's
at
not
all.
Insulting.
That was Schwartz like 10% of the actual anger he could have towards you. So I almost felt like you can't be actually mad at that. He said rock star dreams. He didn't even say it like it wasn't even belittling.
He's grasping at straws. Like same with the James thing later. He's just like trying to drag anyone down with him to justify his behavior.
I'm like, I am sorry, but Schwartz doesn't even get 1 second of blame for going on Jax's podcast and saying like that you were negligent in your duties and you're living out your rockstar dreams. Also, Schwartz said, this was wild to me on the after show. He goes, just so you know, Sandoval, Jax edited out a lot of other stuff I said defending you on the podcast. So I thought, what the hell? That podcast I listened to, Schwartz was going off and saying good things about Sandoval.
Integrity.
And Jax was just in there in GarageBand
Snip.
and Brittany going, let's cut out that shit. That's not going to play well at all.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Jax, you can't just snip out stuff that's like, what if, I mean, like, we need to factor in Schwartz's true feelings on that podcast. Why would he want to cut out when he defended Sandoval?
Right. Okay, and then they just talk about how tomorrow is Sandoval's birthday, and he's like, yeah, Ariana's not going to be home. She's going to emo night. And we did fact check this because we were at emo night that night, and we looked it up, and it was his birthday. That is real. It wasn't faked.
Yeah. And we all thought while we were watching it, we were like, are they trying to make this more like, two events on the same night? Like, how will people choose? But then like, it was actually, no, we were at emo night on Tom Sandoval's birthday, which we had no idea.
We didn't look that up that day. No, it's real.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah. So and then like, Schwartz says, Sheena invited me to emo night. Mm-hmm. And then that's when Sandoval says, well, are you with me or are you against me? And Schwartz says, like you said, and we're proud of him, he said, I'm doing me.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And is it a spoiler? We did see Schwartz in the flesh that night. So
I don't think, if you don't want spoilers for what's to come on emo night, but I feel like everyone saw this coverage and we talked about it actively when it happened. Like, so 30 seconds if you don't want spoilers.
Okay. Yeah. We'll just say what we saw really quickly. Yeah. Kristen's also there.
Yeah, Kristen came. She tried to get her friend in, and they wouldn't let her in for a second, so she made a big deal and talked to production about getting her friend in.
Yeah, James and Allie.
We saw James and Schwartz confront each other and talk again.
Mm-hmm. Was there anyone else fun?
Well, James came down after Ariana, Katie, and Sheena got done DJing, and he went by the DJ booth for a second, and I think possibly played a song. It was... this is a huge spoiler, but I'm just going to say, and then, Tom Sandoval came and stormed the stage and said, I'm more emo than all of you. So
there was a bit of an insurrection. So
anyway, but emo night is going to be like, there's a lot of shit that goes down. So I love that to be continued cliffhanger.
For sure. Okay. Then we pop over to Sheena's house. Her mom comes out with Summer Moon. Did you notice her mom had gotten Jersey Mike's?
No.
She had a Jersey Mike's cup. I was like, hell yeah.
That's awesome. Did it show what sandwich she got?
It was just the cup. She had already eaten the sandwich. Couldn't see.
I was thinking really quick, just Erica, this whole scene, Sheena's mom, sort of an unsung hero in the Vanderpump Rules universe. Like, she's a really good
supporting
mom.
She's low-key been here all along.
She's never done anything like weird or had a bad take.
Yeah, she kind of keeps to herself.
She keeps to herself. She never is like, she wasn't like Stassi's mom who clearly wanted scenes and like wanted to be over the top to like make entertainment.
She wasn't like Linda Garcia Darnell or whatever her name is.
She's the opposite of Linda Garcia Darnell. I just wanted to give a shout out to Erica, and I liked her in this scene.
Yeah. So they explain that because of Sheena's anxiety and postpartum OCD, that she has a real problem letting anyone babysit except her mom, but her mom has a torn rotator cuff, so she currently cannot put Summer Moon in the crib. So they have enlisted a young friend, Tori, who is, I don't know, in her early 20s probably, who can lift, she can act as her mom's arms.
Yes.
But the mom will still be sitting. She will still be present.
Yeah.
But just when they need her lifted, they will have a second human to lift and drop.
But they want Tori behind Erica specifically, so it's her arms, but Summer Moon still sees Erica, but it's just Tori's arms navigating what Erica can do.
Yeah,
so
she puts her arms through her arm slits and just pretends that it's her arms.
I thought that was interesting to that Summer Moon sort of needs that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't want it disrupted, having the Erica time.
Yes. But this is where we get a little glimpse into maybe the dark side of Brock a little bit.
Okay, you're saying dark side.
Just a little bit. I mean, one could call it just marital tension.
I'll say insensitive side.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, dark. Whatever. It wasn't the light side.
Giving
of the Force.
Shades of PK and Dorit's therapy session.
Yes.
Of just undermining their mental health problems.
And I want to say just again for context about what Sheena's going through, which I did not know this. She was like, I have trouble being alone with Summer because I'm always thinking, Summer Moon, because I'm always thinking of like the worst case thing imaginable, and it'll flash in my mind and I'll get so like worried and anxious. It's like, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, I mean, I'm sure that's like honestly pretty common. And I feel like you hear more about that with like people that have infants because they're so fragile and like it's so new and so scary. But it's, I think, like good for her to say that this is still happening to me. She's like, how old? Like 3 or something?
Yeah,
two or three.
Yeah.
That's still happening for her, which like sucks and, you know, is I think relatable to a lot of people. But Brock,
Yeah.
he describes it as her inability to let things go. You know, he kind of makes a flippant remark about her OCD, sort of like eye-rolly.
Yeah.
Her mom and her kind of come at him immediately.
Sheena lets out a rare shut up to Brock too.
Yeah.
She was like, he goes, "Why are you so triggered?"
Right.
That's because he was being so dismissive.
Yeah.
Of her feelings. He's like, "I've been wanting a nanny for months."
Yeah. He says in his confessional that he misses his wife having a good day, and that he kind of breaks it down to that he's annoyed that they can never get anything done.
Yeah.
He said when they first got together, they were a juggernaut of getting things done. You know, I feel like if you could put together a montage of them vlogging, him doing push-ups with her on his back, him putting a TV up on the wall, like they were just like go, 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 go. And now she has different priorities and struggles with those things. So he, you know, feels slighted by that.
Yes. Erica does not, defends Sheena, which, you know, that makes sense. She goes, "You need to validate her feelings." And Brock goes, "Well, you both validate her feelings and you're surrounded by yes people to Sheena."
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a little bit of tension between Erica and Brock, which I remember, I think last season there was a tension where Sheena talked about how like Erica and Brock fight a lot, like maybe in like the 9th season. She's like, and you can still see that like Erica and Brock, I think, you know, get into it a lot.
Yeah. Also here when Sheena starts to get upset, her fatty tabby cat comes over. It felt like he could tell she was sad and came and sat on her lap. And I'm like, give him or her a lower third already.
That was so sweet.
And then in the next scene at James and Allie's house, immediately Mr. Banks' cat shot. They mention him. They say someone knocks on the door. It's Schwartz. And they're like, "Mr. Banks, you have a visitor." So he's fully involved. Schwartz brings him a house plant, which I guess is his new thing.
Yeah, milk tree plant, I think he said.
Yeah. It was like a spiky thing.
James pricks himself on it.
Yeah. And Schwartz says it does sting to celebrate James's new homeownership because he was once a homeowner. He's afraid he'll never be one again. And they showed a montage of him giving a house tour when he first bought his house. And he is there to visit and for Allie to do his birth chart, where she says he has the most Libra in his chart that she's ever seen.
She brings out, like a Libra meter or whatever, and you can just see it basically shaking from the amount of energy he has, because his like time of day or whatever his what's it called, the
natal chart.
Natal chart. Yeah, she's like, "You're the most that I'm getting off the chart Libra readings on you,
off the Richter."
But I also, when Allie said, "I'm doing this now," or whatever, I didn't know how new that business was.
Right.
I kind of thought this had always been her thing, but it sounds like just right post season 10 or
when
whatever.
Did I do it?
Yeah, I was thinking
it might have been right around this time.
You did it while we were actively watching Vanderpump Rules season 10, right? Last summer.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Because we went to SUR and that's where we decided to do it.
Yeah.
But it was definitely, post Sandoval, obviously. So probably right around this time.
And you already said exclusively that like she hit the nail on the head with your birth chart.
She made a few things that she could not have known that were accurate and shocking.
That's pretty awesome.
So I wish they showed Schwartz's. Maybe it'll be in Secrets Revealed. Jimmy is a Libra, and I checked his birthday. Him and Schwartz's birthday are 6 days apart.
Whoa.
Jimmy's 10/10 and Schwartz's 10/16.
Does what she said about Libras
I was trying to, she didn't go into it too much. She said that Libras are people pleasers, which, well, I won't get into Jimmy's psychology, but that could work.
Okay.
Well,
can I say one thing I noticed? Because someone just pulled all the charts of all the Vanderpump Rules cast members, and I just peeked at it really quick, and I don't remember all of their charts, but there's no Sagittariuses on there.
Interesting. That's you.
Yeah, well, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but what is it about Sagittarius that doesn't allow them to
translate?
Like, that's kind of interesting. Of all the signs,
yeah. Are any of them Capricorns? Do you remember?
Ooh, I'd have to look again.
Well, Allie's a Capricorn. She told me that.
I think there was every other sign.
Okay. Wow.
Um,
I need to find who my match is.
but then this thing gets interrupted. Like, they talk about his chart and how he's a people pleaser or whatever, but then all of a sudden, Tom Sandoval gets in the scene through the phone and texts James and says, I'm having a small gathering of people, no pressure at all, so sorry.
What does he start it says like, what a shit storm I caused or something is like the first thing he says.
Okay.
And then it's like having a few people over, you guys are totally welcome to come, no pressure, whatever. And then they're all like, Allie's like, oh my God, like, fuck, what, shit.
Fuck.
And then James is like, Schwartz, are you going? He was like, I'm going to drop by. And then James is like, all right, I'm going to try to pop by for an hour, but I'm not sure.
Yep. And he says, if for some reason Tom Sandoval comes at me, I'm going to egg his home and go straight for the windows and egg all of his windows because I'm a little Dennis the Menace.
Yes. I also want to shout out, I don't remember if I said this last week, but they keep showing these Kaylee Cuoco Priceline ads that she's at one point, I don't even remember what the guise of the ad is, but she keeps going around to different locations. And at one point she's in a golf cart and she drives right through Sheena's wedding location.
Really?
Yes.
The same location?
Yep. I'm positive.
Does she stop for a second and acknowledge that this is where Sheena had her beautiful wedding?
No, but she goes right around that fountain and you can see the gate in the background. And when I watched it with friends last week, I was like, Sheena's wedding. And my friends were like, yes, it is.
I need to stop closing my eyes and humming through all the commercials and watch all these Vanderpump adjacent commercials that are happening.
I know. I'm like, if they were smart, they would have made a special one that was specifically about Vanderpump Rules.
This is not a big deal, but speaking of Kaylee Cuoco, I live right next to Big Bang Theory Lane.
Really?
Because she's a part of Big Bang Theory, which I've never watched, but in Pasadena, I guess that show takes place in Pasadena, and they have this little kind of almost like a tunnel, like a little tunnel where you can go in. It's called Big Bang Theory Lane.
That's exciting.
And I saw one of the cast members of Big Bang Theory hanging out. I swear, this is not a joke. I swear he was eating Mexican food right near the Big Bang Theory Lane. I'm like, they're really tied.
Was it Jim Parsons?
No. I would have known that one. It's the one, not Danny Greco.
Simon
Hedberg.
Yeah, something like
Him.
that. Okay.
I saw him eating Mexican food right next to Big Bang Theory Lane. I go, how much Big Bang Theory shit can you see in one day?
I had to really know a lot about Big Bang Theory when I worked at TBS because that was our big winner besides Friends that we showed. So I've made a lot of Big Bang memes.
Whoa.
Cut a lot of clips.
Did you have to know sort of the nuance of the humor of Big Bang Theory?
A little bit. I can mostly search. We had this amazing, for both Friends and Big Bang, database on the Warner Brothers website where I could search keywords because it had been like completely mapped with closed captioning.
Whoa.
So I could, like during COVID, right when COVID dropped, I typed in like Zoom or like video call or something like that. And there was an episode when, I think maybe for germaphobe reasons, Sheldon was doing video, like had his head on video on like a robot that wheeled through the apartment.
Whoa.
And I was like, me zooming into my meetings, like whatever for COVID, and it was like 1 million likes.
That's awesome. The feeling when Sheldon gets COVID, something like that.
Like that feeling when Sheldon tests positive.
I can't believe there's probably there's probably little turtle cuties who looked at the Big Bang social media during COVID and it's like, Amy, you did that.
Probably.
I can't believe you found in the archives of the Big Bang Theory vault that there was a scene where Sheldon or whoever used a robot for remote calls. That's wild. Have you ever seen Big Bang Theory without laugh track or any of those shows without laugh track?
Oh God, no.
Oh.
Terrifying.
I won't even get into it. It's like, well, I can't even watch shows with laugh tracks anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's just so
painful.
Distracting.
Yeah. And then we picked up, not we, I don't work there anymore, but at a certain point we started showing young Sheldon. So I had to learn about that too. So.
You had to learn about young Sheldon.
Yeah. And they would sometimes plant canon early in, like you would find out like where Sheldon heard Bazinga for the first time. And You'd be like, wow.
When you're watching young Sheldon, he overhears someone saying Bazinga, and that's added to the legacy of.
Yeah. There's like, and then his Meemaw that he talked about is a character in the original, or like his mom plays a young version of, I think, Laurie Metcalf.
Okay.
It's a whole thing.
That cast got really lucky.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then you hear the billowing, beautiful sound of emo music wafting through West Hollywood.
It feels
and
so
Echo
like
Park.
It's very noticeable because it's so out of place.
So they for the first time ever, the producers or the post-production team searched in their database of songs. They said emo music.
Yeah.
And they found a song that they thought matched the vibe of Katie and Ariana getting ready to go to emo night and do their DJ set.
Yep. And at the same time, Tom is downstairs saying this is his first birthday, not drinking. I assume he meant, in adulthood. He said he does have mushroom chocolate though.
Right.
Which I'm like, okay, I understand that alcohol is particularly, toxic or whatever. I understand the idea of maybe stopping drinking, but still smoking weed or doing mushrooms or whatever. But I'm like, I feel like for you right now, part of it is that you want to remain lucid to deal with your life.
I agree. I agree with you completely about that. He might not necessarily want to do mushrooms right now, but I do think, like I think I was saying this last week, I don't think people need to start add the caveat of Cali sober anymore to accommodate for you smoking weed. I think sober very clearly to most people means withdrawing from alcohol, especially,
right.
you know what I mean? I just don't think that, I don't feel like people should feel so ashamed to be like, I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I take mushrooms every once in a while. It's like I think you should still be able to classify yourself as sober.
Sure.
But maybe true sober people who have really made that no drugs and alcohol because they also have a problem. They want to claim that sober term and not let people who are more wishy-washy. So I don't know if maybe I'm wrong about that.
The program's going to come after your ass.
Yeah, but I want to say another Anne moment really quick because Tom goes, Anne, you really killed it on the balloons over there. And then you see Anne's balloon work, which is so funny.
There's 20 balloons.
It is so funny that Anne had to blow up balloons for his birthday as his assistant.
Didn't he say it was giving baby shower?
Yeah, then he undercuts his praise by giving a backhanded compliment and saying it's giving baby shower vibes. And she goes,
like, oh.
It's like, damn, you really, Anne just blew up a bunch of shitty balloons for your sad birthday and you're calling it
you couldn't have outsourced that.
Seriously.
But then Kyle Chan rolls in.
Yeah.
Again, it's a real who's who. Billy Lee. Kyle Chan, I assume, knows that Tom is sober, but brings Don Julio tequila.
Kyle Chan did? I didn't even think about that.
He brought a giant bottle.
But I think they instantly start drinking it and Tom Sandoval doesn't partake, so maybe that's good. It's
he does a shot
party.
of something else. Schwartz comes through. They show a quick upsetting clip of Kitty getting scared. Someone seems like they're trying to grab Kitty. But I'm telling myself that it sounds like historically Kitty and Maya are used to there being parties, and hopefully Kitty knows they can go upstairs if they need.
We have to hope, but Maya was also kind of shocked by the amount of guests that were coming through and scared at each one.
It made me feel sad.
When you looked at the lower thirds of all these people, I was like, who the hell are Tom Sandoval's friends? I mean, I was very, very entertained by them having Tom Sandoval's birthday on this episode because this is a rare thing to capture. Tom Sandoval is in the goddamn doghouse. And this birthday of, like you said, a who's who of who
they
are
were
these
mostly
people.
On his payroll.
Yeah, they were, a lot of them were, it's like guitar tech,
vocal
guitarist,
coach,
music man, band member.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, Tom, these are all new friends who don't really know his past besides Billy Lee, Kyle, and that one guy, Brett, I think later who we see.
Right.
These are people who do not know how horrible of a thing that Tom Sandoval did. So they like him now because they haven't been through the thick of it. People who know what he has done, that he only has 2 or 3 of those people still by his side.
Yeah. Schwartz comes through. He brings a cake. And it turns out he goes, does it say Sandoval is a liar? Which we know he talked about on Nick Viall. But Schwartz says, it says, happy 40th again. Which, because during Scandoval, everyone was dogging on that he lied about his age.
Yes. So I think this is officially Tom Sandoval's second 40th birthday party.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I didn't think...
If not second or third.
And I think Megan just saw an article where People Magazine is still reporting him as 40.
Really?
Yeah, where he's potentially probably almost 43 now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought I thought it was wild that like that is known
Right.
to everyone that Tom Sandoval is again celebrating his 40th birthday.
Yeah. So then James and Allie are on their way there. She says, like, I'm not going in, just run in for a minute. And he leaves her parked in the driveway, like parked across the driveway.
So how long was he planning on being in there?
I hope under 10 minutes.
They also are like on their drive. They're both going, this is horrible. This is horrible. I'm sinking into my
she's
seat.
like, turn around.
I hate this more than life itself.
Yeah.
Allie also clarifies why she is not ever going to talk to Sandoval, at least for the time being. She's like, I never was close with Sandoval, and I care way more about Ariana, so I'm not even going in there. I have nothing to gain from talking to Sandoval, which I kind of like that.
I mean, this definitely felt like James had an obligation to film a scene. Like, they need to move their relationship forward for better or for worse. So I think he was just dropping in to have a quick conversation on camera that was kind of clear that he was like, that's an obligation.
I also did like the juxtaposition of like Tom's birthday with the start of emo night, which we haven't gotten there yet, but it's like fun when Ariana and Katie arrive to the green room.
Yes.
We see TJ greet them, which I thought was really
that
sweet.
Scene, it felt like it felt a little almost like The Hills-esque. Like, it felt very a formal introduction. I don't know if it's because they wanted really to clarify to the public what this event is. You know what I mean?
I think they did, because they really let us know a lot why this is happening, you know, justifying what they're doing, explaining that they did this before. But, you know, I thought it was nice because it introduces why we're here. So I thought it was a good establishing scene for sure.
They showed the decorations that say sad as fuck. And all of that fun stuff.
And then Lala wanted a little piece of the emo action. Did you notice that?
Yes. She did her bangs. She wore black. I will say, we talked about this before when we went, but she was a duck out of water. Is that what they say?
Duck out of water.
Fish out of water.
Well, a duck. No, you're right. I was thinking there is one about a duck. Stand out like a sore duck. No, you're right. Fish out of water.
She hated it. She hated it.
Right, which is not indicative of the quality, but she just never had an emo phase like Sheena, Ariana.
She's a hip-hop girly, I think.
Yeah, so she even was doing stories like, what the hell am I doing? Look at my emo outfit. Am I truly emo or not?
I'm curious if they force her to admit that. I feel like she's going to say something funny next week about hating it.
I think she will, but it's kind of interesting to see Lala out of her depths because she's always so confident and comfortable in any scenario. So the fact that emo night took Lala out to where she was not confident with what she was doing, that was a new side of Lala that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
She's normally so confident in every scene.
Yeah. And I was relieved to find, we already talked about this, but we knew that, you know, we saw in public, and I think you were there, that Sheena, Ariana, and Katie did this already before this event. And when we heard they were doing it again, we were wondering whether or not they were going to pretend that this was the first time, almost like a recreation of that first time. But they were honest. They said, we did this in April. They want us to do it again. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's a good indicator of the reality. Everything
about the emo night storyline was accurate. I mean, so like that's like the one small thing that like we were there, a part of it, and like we knew like the things that happened there, and it's like that thing, it was 100% accurate. Everything Sheena said about the Good as Gold Screamo, how that came to be.
Yeah, Sandoval's birthday, and like you were saying, and Megan was saying that it's always on a Friday night, so they didn't change it to be on Sandoval's birthday. I mean, yeah, it just happened to all work out.
They just got a wonderful gift of having the cast members have to navigate this. I'm sure the producers
were like, fuck, yes.
Like, yeah, totally. So anyway, so in terms of what you and I know personally from our experience, this was 100% accurate storyline in every way so far.
Totally.
That we've seen. So then, okay, so emo night is sort of done. They close the book on that. That's the to be continued part, which we're going to see next episode. Now we're just back at Sandoval's sort of sad birthday, right?
Yeah.
There's coolers of Coors Light. James, when he walks in, we got to that point, right? James is like walking in, and he says, you know, people will laugh and think it's funny as hell. He says it's a regular who's who in here, as in who the hell are these people, right? Or something even better than that.
Who the fuck are you people? And he goes, Sandoval offers him a drink, and he said he's good with water. Instead of a water, what does he hand him?
A squirt.
Diet squirt.
A diet
The
squirt.
classic Sandoval signature.
Did they cut out?
And it was warm.
It was a warm squirt. Did they cut out a scene where James said, actually, forego my water completely? I just saw that you have warm diet squirts out, and I'd much prefer that. Because there, in no way does someone give you a warm diet squirt when you ask for water.
Right.
Right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe if you ask for like a spindrift or
Yeah,
something like that, you could be like, how about a squirt?
Of course.
I will say, we've talked about this before, but I like diet squirt. My
No.
parents drink it.
No, Tom Sandoval has it. We can claim it. Oh, I tried squirt for the first time during the height of squirt fever, and it was great. I love
Yeah.
it. It's like a Sprite.
It's tasty.
But I want to say I have to just add nuance to this. I can't just let James get away with this. It's rude and horrible to say that Tom's new friends are not worth knowing and shitty, and to specifically say who the fuck are these people while the editors go to Tom's bandmates to be like, who
if I was implicated in that, they just like cut to one woman at one point, and I'm like, she doesn't know that they're gonna cut to her and be like, who the fuck is this loser?
Seriously, I was
It was hilarious though.
I know it's hilarious. I love the
Also,
comedy
if I
of
were
it.
him, I would say the same thing.
Okay,
I totally would.
All right, we allow for fun, even if it's mean from James. or
They're
whatever.
non-entities.
Were you glad though that they didn't cut to you and I?
Thank God, we're like eating like little
Well,
finger sandwiches, and we're like,
Do
ooh.
I was just going to ask you, do you remember the food spread that he had? We were basically at the sort of buffet when James came in. I would have hated if
We
James...
didn't sign the release.
I know.
We were
I would.
blurred.
Could you imagine if James would said, "Who the fuck are those people?" And it went to us, and we have those raccoon eyes where we're blurred, but you can still see us, sort of in that dark corner, eating all
Yeah.
that food. Thank God they didn't pan to us.
Yeah, I was
Anyway.
worried about that.
Yeah, I was worried too. Okay, I have to say this too. This was interesting to me. As interesting as anything I've ever seen this episode. That's why this episode gave so much to me. Like even the minor moments brought so much. So this guy Brett, who was in season 10. He's the guy who jumped into the pool naked in Mexico with Ariana, and the teaser for season 10 made it seem like Ariana was like getting naked with someone or whatever.
right.
And then we found out, oh no, it's just like a guy they hang out with. You know, it's like there was nothing nefarious there at all. Anyway, it turns out that when James walks in, that guy Brett, no offense to this guy, but it's like this is a very sad like scene where he comes off very lame a little bit. It's
Desperate.
like they gave him a lame, desperate edit, and he talks to James. James could not like be listening less and care less and not want to be in a conversation
He
more.
was like squirming, like he couldn't stand still. He never made eye contact. Like he was like, no,
Yes.
no.
Yes. And this
I'm
guy-
not talking to you. I'm not engaging in this. Like absolutely not.
And this guy Brett took this opportunity. He's not mic'd at all, so you only hear his audio from James's mic, and he's going, "Hey, I just wanted to talk to you for a second about the friend group because, as you know, I got cut off from Katie, so I'm having like a really hard time right now." And James goes, "Where the hell is Tom
He's
Sandoval?"
like, I came to talk to Sandoval. Like,
And-
what did they talk to the hand basically?
Yeah, and it was like James's dismissive energy. If I ever went up to James and he treated me like that, I would like be close to
That's
death.
the opposite what he did to us at Sir.
Oh,
Tom
we
Tom.
got no. So he gave him like the eclipsed sun, no light could shine through. He gave us the full sun.
He literally shone a light on us.
He shone a light so bright on us. He did the opposite. So I'm not saying, but I'm just saying Brett, and I was more fine with James treating Brett like shit because it sounded like Brett chose the wrong side
Yeah.
and chose Sandoval's side like Billy Lee and Kyle Chan.
Yeah.
But then he didn't get the shine that Tom Sandoval gave to them. So he just looks like a hanger-on that doesn't get any credit. And now he lost his bridge to the other cast members. So he's
And
like,
James is like, all right, seriously, absolutely not. I came to talk to Tom, and he's like, I'll go get him for you.
yes. Oh, Brett goes, please. Oh, sorry. And did
And
you
he's
want...
like, James is looking for you, and he's like, oh, okay. I was gonna bring him out back.
Also, James specifically says, point in case or whatever. He says, who the fuck is this guy to Brett?
Yeah.
Like, he knows that guy.
Totally. So then they go over to the couch to drink their squirts. I think Sandoval's drinking one of those zero Heinekens or whatever.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. I said point in case. I meant case in point.
Exactly.
So, I'm sorry. You were going to let me just go by
Match
that, but-
point.
Match point. Anyway, yeah, you're right.
So then, James is saying, we kind of talked about this before, but he's hurt that Sandoval never reached out after whatever. And he's a little bit apologetic. He goes, I know I should have. I'm sorry. I was really going through a lot.
Like you said.
And yeah, and he's like, James is like, I know, but months and months went by. And he's like, seriously, it was a rough time. And then James is like, well, do you feel bad about betraying me? And you can see Sandoval, like a little switch go off where he's like, oh, we're going to do this. Yeah. And he's like, betray you? Yeah. And he's like, yeah. And you can tell that Sandoval in no way is capable of being, humble in this scenario. He feels attacked. It's over. It's not going to happen. Yep. He wants to bring up, he's like, well, if we're going to, get into this. And he starts to bring up like that James hooked up with Kristen right after they broke up and tried to like equivocate that scenario, which is majorly a false equivalent. Scenario wise, one could argue, but he had known James for a month when that happened. He has now known James for 10 years when this happened, and they were engaged.
Okay. All right. Yes, I agree. In theory, I agree. I thought that, like you said, Tom Sandoval took particular umbrage, is that the right word, for the word betrayal. Wanted to bring up the past, but I wanted to ask, like James says, it's been 10 years, so I will not even for 1 second allow for that to be brought into the equation here.
Yeah.
Is there any time, like I know, time, we all have different thoughts on time as it passes through.
Yeah.
Is there any time, 4 years, 3 years, where this could have been brought into the equation and factored in terms of how James treated Sandoval?
Sure.
But is the decade relevant?
Well, I think it's relevant in the sense that like by the time Sandoval fucked his friend's ex-fiance, they had been friends for many more years than when James, quote, betrayed him by fucking his ex, when they didn't necessarily, he didn't deserve a huge amount of loyalty to Tom when they first met versus they got past that, which you would think strengthened their relationship. Yeah. And then were friends for 10 years. He helped him plan his engagement, all of this shit. They had bonded. So I would say a betrayal after 10 years of friendship is worse than betrayal at the beginning of a friendship.
Yes.
Wow, yeah. And this is not the time to bring that up when you haven't even reconciled at all. Yeah. Maybe once you close the loop on that and you heal a bit, and then later you can say, because I don't even think that Sandoval, the thing is, it was disingenuous. He was trying to say, well, you did it too, when I don't think he's hurting about that still.
Right. Yeah. So a couple thoughts about this. I don't think, in my mind, it wasn't a get up and leave type statement. Yeah. Like James really added a dramatic element, like you just crossed a bridge that I will never let you have that, and I'm going to walk away and piss in your bushes for even bringing that up.
I got the sense he was absolutely itching and like dying to get the fuck out of there already.
I think so too. Brett was like hovering around seeing if he neneeded more squirt or whatever. Yeah. He's like, did you need more squirt while you have this conversation? But yeah, I'm like, my rational brain and my viewer brain says James is right. This is not equatable at all. But I did want to at least think about if there's any time that could have gone by where Sandoval could have brought this up. But like you said, you're right. Tom Sandoval is forgetting, which I don't know how he's still forgetting, that just all people want to hear is an apology with no justification. And you're right. If at one point Tom and James get a little better and Tom wants to explain why it took so long for him to reach out, and he just said that it brought up a lot of feelings when you made love to Kristen on my bed, maybe James would be more receptive to that. But for now, like James even said in his confessional, he's like, I just want an apology. I care about you as a friend. I know I might never be able to repair it, but I will try my best to get back there. Yeah. And Tom Sandoval, the entire episode and all the time, which is why I can't defend Tom Sandoval. He just can't eat shit and say nothing. Even to Schwartz. He even has to pull in things that Schwartz did to him, which were not bad at all.
No. I think, again, not to give him benefit of the doubt, but I honestly think at this point it might be a defense mechanism because he can't sink any lower, that I think his ego is protecting him from total death, that he's like, I can't just completely wipe the slate clean with every single person, because everyone I know wants an apology. And if I truly like down in the dumps apologize to every single person, I'll have nothing left to give and I can't survive. So I think he like has to maintain a little bit of denial in his mind to just like exist. But hopefully he'll get there soon. But yeah, it's surprising that even to someone like Schwartz, he couldn't be vulnerable, you know?
Yeah, he had to like take Schwartz to task so that Schwartz would feel a little bad about his actions to Sandoval as well. I guess it's because Tom Sandoval is so used to fighting for other people, and he's always like the defender of the underdog, or he loves just being on the other side of a fight when other people are like piling on someone, that maybe he's like doing that for himself now, sort of, and being like, did you forget this? Right. Like, but I do want to call into question a little bit of like, this is now getting into the reality of these scenes. And I talked about this with Schwartz and James's relationship last week. I don't think Sandoval actually thought he was a big brother to James, and I don't know 100% if James actually did feel that way about Sandoval. So even requesting that he thought because of their relationship that Sandoval would reach out, I don't know if I buy that Sandoval and James were at that level to where James even warranted something, because I just don't know if deep down Sandoval gives a shit about James. Right. Like, I don't even know if he likes him. I don't think he ever truly did. And I think that even the RHOA thing was more about Sandoval being so horny to plan events. I was just going to say, he gets off on giving. And
So, and that also gets him attention and goodwill. Right. So I don't know how much it was about generosity. I don't think they had a true blue friendship, but so they're both kind of using this falsehood against each other. So it's like, where's the truth?
Exactly right. I wanted to add that because I want to be just fully honest about everything that I'm thinking in these scenes. Yeah. And I just don't know if the Sandoval and James relationship or the James and Schwartz relationship was like worth anyone, like them salvaging, except for the show.
The thing is, James has almost always been on the outskirts. Yeah. So he's kind of only been given this new POV in the sense that he currently is the only innocent one in this most recent crime. Yes. So he gets to be sort of the clean slate. Same with Brock. They're both kind of benefiting from the eyes going in a different direction, and they get to be innocent for this.
Yeah, they get the moral high ground. Yes. And so, James gets upset. He decides to leave. He says, I got to go take a huge piss. And
he says, you have so much growing up to do still. And Sandoval's like, that is very narcissistic for you to say. And I'm like, I know you don't want to hear what the public has to say when you like, be smart.
Totally not. Well, he says that because James says, I'm not even going to listen to you and let you bring that up. So he says that's what's narcissistic. Like, James won't allow for Sandoval's counter, but whatever. It's a failed fight, a failure to launch. Yes. I think because what Sandoval threw into the fight, James didn't want to hear. And you're right. He was itching to get out of there.
Sure. Yeah. He does a turtle piss on the bush out front, and Allie's like, that's Ariana's bush too.
And then the episode ends with a to be continued. And I thought that was beautiful last final words. It's Ariana's bush too.
Yeah. And then we talked about this, but on Watch What Happens Live, they did an honorary montage of all of the bushes of Bravo, which includes Luann in the bush, Tamara in the bush, James pissing in the bush. I think there were a few others, but
there was some other bush shit. Sandoval specifically said on the after show, he goes, I didn't really care that James peed on my bush.
As if he would give a shit. Come on. Also, I wanted to shout out on Watch What Happens Live, Sheena and Ryan Serhant were on, like I said, and Sheena's band was behind the bar.
Yes. So the 27s.
Yeah. And also Ryan Serhant revealed that he's selling Andy's place for him, which I'm like, make a spinoff about that. They did a game of like, can Sheena name them? I don't remember what it was actually called, but she couldn't identify She couldn't identify our first lady, but she could identify Gypsy Rose.
That was great. Andy said he didn't know what Gypsy Rose looked like.
He needs to get with the times.
She just said, of course that's Gypsy Rose.
She was like, come on.
She didn't get our second gentleman either.
No, that was kind of a curveball.
I know, because they put a mustache on him and a wig on it.
And also the last note was, I've mentioned this before, but the Watch What Happens Live glasses are no longer Ramona eyes. They are Mary Cosby eyes.
Oh, is that to
She's
remove?
canceled.
Really?
I don't know.
That's sort of
like, it's been Ramona eyes since day one.
And Mary Cosby's eyes, like when she found out that they didn't have that Don Julio that she likes or whatever.
It's like they're very intense.
Wow.
So that's a
Okay.
bad sign for Miss Singer.
That is
Just
not good. Okay. Well, wow. So I have to say that episode to me, like I might be overrating it because I thought the premiere was a little lackluster and like,
Yeah.
but this is what I wanted from Vanderpump Rules. And this gives me high hopes for season 11. I loved the shit that was going on in this episode with all of them.
Yeah. But do you think that the entire season is going to be about Sandoval? Like, will we ever get anything else?
Yeah, no, we're getting more. They're going to give us even more. That one deranged fan is going to throw a bunch of shit at Kyle Chan's whiskey party.
That's
Tori,
the last episode.
That's the last episode. Well, that's going to be the minute they get over Sandoval. He's
That's
going to
20 episodes from now.
No. A lot of stuff is going to happen. Schwartz is going to say that he kissed Sheena on the lips one time.
Oh, right.
Tori, Sheena's nanny, is going to get in a love triangle with Schwartz and Katie, which you know is 100%
Is that who
real.
it is?
That's Tori.
That's who it is?
That's Tori.
Oh, my God.
So Tori,
Not the robot arms.
I know.
They just need to get the mom a Doc Ock suit.
I was just going to say, you have to hope that Erica is still not in front of Tori when they do this makeout because maybe Erica doesn't want to kiss either of them.
What's the element that they use to make the Doc Ock arms that becomes highly
Vibranium.
Okay.
No, or titanium.
Unobtainium.
Unobtainium, I think.
It explodes and then it kills his wife, his beautiful wife.
Alfred Molina's wonderful wife, Doc Ock. I mean, he loved her so much. He was good at science shit, and she was good at poetry.
Yeah, she's a Broadway star, Donna Murphy. She played. She was in Hello, Dolly.
Oh, she's amazing. She wasn't in very much of Spider-Man 2, but her scenes with Alfred Molina were great.
You can tell it was a huge loss, enough to drive him mad.
It justified why he let those censors sort of get haywire because he had nothing left to live for. It led to his villainy.
He basically went to live in a chud tunnel.
Oh my God.
It was kind of like a dock.
Doc
Ock's dock.
Doc Ock. That just reminded me. I was like, who else lived in a tunnel? Penguin. Did you ever see Batman?
Wait.
Did you ever see the second Batman, Penguin?
It's been a while.
He has like a bunch of like goop or whatever, and he lives in basically a penguin chud tunnel or whatever. He's disgusting. Penguin. Okay. It's Danny DeVito.
I love that.
But you just reminded me of Alfred Molina. I just got to see him again in that Feud show.
Oh, the Capote one?
Yeah. I watched Capote.
I mean, I'm going to watch it.
You have to watch Capote.
You love it?
I love it. It is, I haven't watched
Is it high camp?
It's honestly sad, somber, and Tom Hollander, when I say this, you know I mean this. Tom Hollander disappears into Capote, and I don't think he's ever going to be able to come back. I think it's like Austin Butler and Elvis, where he is like, they're going to be like, you're not Truman. You're not Truman. They're going to have to say, like, once he's done filming, I think
he talk funny like Philip Seymour Hoffman?
It's the best Capote. I do not where Tom Hollander ends and Truman Capote begins, I don't know. You won't see Tom Hollander.
I can't wait.
And it's about
Tom Holland, watch out. There's a new Tom Hollander in town.
Tom Holland is over. It's Tom Hollander. He's getting Spider-Man. And I didn't get the premise, but Truman Capote hates these swans. So he's just completely pissed
he talks
at these
shit, right?
He talks shit about these swans. And so the whole time he just has this grudge. No, it's about these high society people that he was like, well, this is not a spoiler.
Demi Moore. Who else? It's Callista Flockhart.
Yep.
Who are the other ones?
Is
it Chloe Sevigny?
Yes, you're getting all of them, and I didn't forget any of them. And there's the main one.
There's one more.
Oh, his favorite, his favorite is
Diane Lane.
No, Diane. Oh my God! I'm totally forgetting. He loves one of them so much. Naomi Watts.
Yes.
Did you already see Naomi Watts?
No, I didn't.
His main swan is Naomi Watts.
Married to Billy Crudup in real life.
Still now?
They recently got married, like in the past
Isn't
6
Billy
months.
Crudup the one who left his wife while she was in need of him when
Yes.
she was pregnant?
That was a long time ago, though.
Oh, so he's forgiven.
He's doing. I love a later in life marriage. They did a City Hall, New York City wedding.
That's amazing. Could Billy Crudup be Tom Sandoval in Reality of a Scandal?
That would be good.
Because I don't care about the ages.
He
I don't
has
want
that cunning.
I don't want a young. I'm no Timothy Chalamet. I'm sorry to the Chalamet heads. I mean, I'll offer it to him, but he's gonna say no. But Billy Crudup has that past.
You could picture him with the mustache from Almost Famous.
I thought of him with a mustache.
And we know he can perform.
And I want to age everybody up. Like Robert De Niro, Cedric he's 20 years old. Like they're older. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to the young
Okay.
people to cast.
I like Billy Crudup.
Yeah.
Hot off the morning show.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I loved my connection to morning show, hearing it through you. You have to watch. I don't even know if Feud is.
You know, I
good.
always watch Ryan Murphy shows.
Okay, good. It's honestly the best. Like Ryan Murphy. Sometimes I'll be watching American Horror Story and I'm like, this is the worst written thing I've ever seen in
It's
my life.
terrible.
This is Gus Van Sant directed.
Oh, really? The
He
first
directed
one? The first two?
First two.
Okay.
And it's written by someone who knows their shit. Truman Capote is having so much fun in this
can't wait.
show. And so, yeah, I can't.
I love New York Society.
You're going to flip. I'm like, why did I not know about what the hell Truman Capote was doing? I only knew him from In Cold Blood. I
Yeah.
had no idea. He was like the guest at dinner parties that they would be
Yes.
like, bring that guy
Yeah.
back. He just made us all have fun for 2 hours straight.
Well, I was listening to Kathy Griffin on a podcast, and she has brought the idea of a salon back into her life. She hosts salons where she just invites like 10 interesting people from different walks of life to talk and have interesting conversation. And she said she was inspired to do that by, I think it was Gloria Vanderbilt, Anderson Cooper's mom.
Wow.
And I think Truman Capote would come to her salons.
I was going to surprise
It's like Diana Vreeland. I'm obsessed with that world. So
I was
yes.
gonna save this for next week, but we got an invite from Kathy Griffin to go to her new
shit.
salon. She wants Turtle Time to talk Bravo at her 10-person dinner party.
I can't wait.
So we're going.
I'm ready.
Well, I think Beverly Hills is so old. And, like,
Oh yeah, let's like group it with next week.
I think we did so good today with what we've done with you and I.
Spoiler alert: Crystal survives. She has high blood pressure.
It was a good episode, and its quality. It's not indicative of us not talking about it by its quality. I actually really love this episode. I think Beverly Hills is coming back. Sutton is really Sutton is providing rationale for why she is like almost sinner diamond holder in my mind. Like Sutton is really coming into her own as a major force to be reckoned with, and I'm loving Kyle. Anna Marie had some saving grace this episode, but I think that we should maybe do Beverly Hills next week once we are not so running long, and we'll just incorporate all of our Beverly Hills thoughts.
the
into next
Barcelona
week.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah.
Did we do good today, you think?
Actually, yeah. I wasn't sure if I could do it.
You did so. I mean, you did so amazing, and I can't believe that we were able to, do this. And then I love where we landed, talking about Truman Capote and everything.
Absolutely.
But
I'll try and watch the first few episodes by next week so we can talk about it.
it's the only show where I was actually like in recent memory, besides like I'm rewatching Rome, where I was like, this is good and worth thinking about. So that's a good sign. Just some of the little business at the back of the podcast. If you made it all the way through and you heard the Truman Capote minute, we need reviews for Turtle Time, and we love getting those sweet, beautiful written reviews. So if you want to honor Turtle Time and say what you like about it, that would be so sweet because it boosts us up in the, I guess, rankings or whatever.
Yes.
And then also on Patreon, Amy and I are doing, I'll just say it, the Lord's work over there, recapping Vanderpump Rules, and we are just about to hit season 4 after we do the reunions.
Yeah.
And season 4 is that era of 4 through 6 is like my favorite era of Vanderpump Rules. Once the cobwebs are dusted off and they're like grinding in full gear, I love that era. So that's what is up on Patreon. And then
once you
else?
pay that $5, it unlocks the entire, what do you call that? The vault. Like we've done probably, I don't know how many episodes, like 40 episodes or something like that.
I mean, yeah, we've recapped 3 full seasons of Vanderpump Rules. It's so many episodes, and you could just really go nuts. $5, rip through the archives, and then keep paying $5 forever. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth it, but that's just me. As I said before, I am a patron to multiple podcasts of which I cannot get enough. And so if you can't get enough of us talking for 3 hours, you can get an extra hour at least, if not hour and a half per week.
Yeah, and we're good on there. Like Amy said, it's an amazing experience, and I want to do a special shout out at the end of the episode to our Villa Rosa VIPs. We talked about it at the beginning, but I saw the power and beauty of that community, on Patreon, and I'm stunned that you and I get to be a part of something that is almost like I just can't even believe how beautiful and wonderful it is. So I don't want to get too sad and get us back there, but thank you so much to the Villa Rosa VIPs. That community is more beautiful than you can ever imagine, but we love our little turtle cuties too, Yes,
all of you. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
This endeavor gives us much joy and purpose, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's not even for me to say, but I felt good about where we landed. I mean, the first 20 minutes, I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I feel like we got to a great, fun place. And so I'm happy for Turtle Time, and I just feel like, I don't know, we did good. I mean, 3 hours. What the hell?
The classic amount of time.
Okay, well, we love you so much. We'll be thinking about you all week. We'll be back on Patreon on Monday, and we love you, and sleep good tonight, and think about Vanderpump Rules, and think about Turtle Time.
Bye. Thank you. Love you.
Love you.
This one